92.69 DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. A lot of big-name companies are rethinking their commitment to DEI, in large part due to pressure on social media from anti-DEI activists. Ann Chow is former Chief Executive Officer at AT&T Business and was the first woman of color to serve as a CEO in AT&T's history. She says that we need to think bigger when it comes to addressing diversity.
Inclusion is so much more than just representation. It's about an environment that you create to widen your perspective, to look at new data sources, to surround yourself with different people, to advance your business, to innovate, to grow, right? To build a contemporary workforce that will compete not just today, but tomorrow. It's all of those things that make really just good business sense.
Chow's recent book, Lead Bigger, The Transformative Power of Inclusion, takes a closer look at how to lead an inclusive team. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Doors take us to summers away or winter adventures and afternoon getaways. Your dedicated Fidelity advisor can help you open those doors by working with you on a comprehensive plan to help you reach your wealth's full potential. Because doors were meant to be opened. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimum supply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, but are the sole responsibility of the hosts and guests of this particular show.
America may have many, many days, but they will be full of trouble. There will be no rest. There will be no tranquility in this country until the nation comes to terms with our problems.
Bringing you social and political commentary from his mouth to your ears. Breaking down the issues which matter to you.
You are not put here to be a white man's footstool. You are put here to represent the very best in God's word.
Legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Mr. Sherwin, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
From Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, man, but I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017thetruth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Monday, the last day of September 30th, 2024. I'm going to get back into some of the electoral stuff. I know last week we kind of dodged a little bit of it because every now and again I get sick of it. And I appreciate all of you allowing me a reprieve because I get inundated with the political stuff. The election is literally a month from tomorrow. Ain't that crazy? Early voting in Wisconsin is going to start in about 2 weeks, so it's here. Mail-in ballots went out September 19th, so a lot of you have already voted. So as we're getting closer, I want to jump back into it and give some different perspectives on what you can and should expect for the next 30 days, okay? And then the following 60 days. So we got two phases here now. You got between right now and the actual election day itself. And then you have all of the different state processes that are going to ensue after the close of business on November 5th. Let me make a little prediction. Let me make a little prognostication. I could be wrong, but I highly doubt it. Remember, I'm the one that told y'all months and months and months ago that Joe Biden was going to drop out of the race and Kamala Harris was going to be the nominee. Remember that? When y'all didn't believe it? When y'all was like, well, what about Gavin Newsom? Maybe he'll be the nominee. Oh, what about Gretchen Whitmer? You guys were entertaining all of those utterly ridiculous conversations. Remember that? I remember that. It's just another time when I was right. It's not how the game works, ladies and gentlemen. There are rules to this game, and the rules are if the president, who is the head of the Democratic Party, or the Republican, they're also the head of their party, if they, for whatever reason, become incapacitated or resign, the vice president is up next. So when Joe Biden selected Kamala Harris, he had her on deck in the event that he was incapacitated, could not serve for whatever reason, or if he did not run again. She was the only signatory on all the cash that Joe Biden had raised. She was the only person that had access to that bank account. So there was no other Democrat, no matter how much you like them, that could have come in and be the Democratic nominee. And it worked, didn't it? Because that's how it's supposed to work. This woman amassed $500 million inside of 45 days, probably less than 45 days. Hundreds of thousands of new volunteers. Life was breathed into the party because it was on life support. It was because Joe Biden was. Now, look, I was going to vote for Joe Biden, but I was a Joe Biden supporter going back to, I think Biden announced in April of 2019. He announced late. I was on board with him right away just because I didn't know and I did not quite understand the politics and policies of some of those other ragtag Democrats that decided they wanted to throw their hat in the ring. I like Cory Booker. Cory Booker is good. I think that there are a lot of questions surrounding his lifestyle, which I don't care. I don't care about Cory Booker being unmarried and maybe liking boys, men. I don't care. Don't matter to me. Let me speak for a moment on, I guess are those cultural issues, like somebody's affiliations, the community that you're in. If you're gay or a woman or some kind of minority, whatever, that becomes a big deal when you run for office because they want to make it about that. I used to make it about that. In the conversations that I've had over the years, and there's been a bunch, I have matured in my political understanding, which gives me hope because sometimes when you get older, you feel like you're set in your ways and you cannot learn or adapt to the new world or how the world is changing. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is in fact changing very rapidly in front of our eyes. So you got two options. You don't have a bunch of options. Now you only got two. In a world that inundates you with options right now, in this moment in time, you only got two. I know that you wish you had 55, 100,000 options. I know you wish you had more options than you have television shows and documentaries to watch, but you got two options. We don't even need more than two options most of the time because most people are bad decision makers as it is. So the fewer options we have, in my opinion, the better it is, the less chance we'll have to screw up. The option is you see the world changing around you and you wish that it didn't. You wish that it remained the same. You wish that it was the same back when you remember, back in the day when everybody waxes nostalgic. You remember how easy it was. You remember when there was, I don't know, more jobs, less crime. You remember when there was more black unity or whatever it is that you remember. And our memories are selective because we forget all the bad stuff. We just remember the warm and fuzzy feelings. That's a human defense mechanism, by the way. You don't really remember the bad stuff. You only remember the good. Remember that time with great fondness, so we want to come back to it. And now look at the world. You got boy transgender girls on girls, boys basketball teams. Look at the world. You got all these people coming over here from the border. Look at these people coming over here doing people stuff. Oh, it's terrible. I remember back in the day. So you can look at what is happening around you, see all of the changes, and just be angry and just be mad and just wish for a time in the past. When you are like that, if you're like that, and a bunch of you are, all you're doing is just aging. You are becoming out of touch, and you will get left behind. No one is going to wait for you. No one's going to wait for you to figure it out. No one's going to wait for you to get with it. You will be left behind, and I say good riddance to you. Stay in the past. It is never coming back. That's one choice. You can just be nostalgic about how things used to be and things were easy. And, these blacks weren't in a competition, you see. We could keep the blacks in their own neighborhood, and they weren't getting into our schools, and they weren't applying for jobs, see, and the blacks weren't voting. Because when you as a black person wax nostalgic, that is what you are actually talking about. A time in which we had less authority, less power, less respect, less laws protecting us. So if you're one of those, go back to the past. Or you can realize and understand that you are far less important in the grand scheme of things than you may think, and the world is going to go on without you. It is a ride. Either you get on the magic carpet or you stay on the ground. I'm doing my level best to try and understand these changes, to go along with them. Also understand that we aren't really in control anymore. This world belongs to the youth. It belongs to the future. It does not belong to the past. The past is a series of lessons we need to learn, not relive and reinvigorate and try and bring them back. History is only a lesson. That's it. It's only a lesson. Either you learn from it or you don't. But you cannot bring it back. You cannot make America great again. Just the statement on its face is nonsensical. It's appealing to a people that are envisioning a world that no longer and will never, ever, ever exist again. So if that's where you want to be, go back. We don't need you in the future anyway. You got two choices. You can be angry at the world and how it's changing and it doesn't fit your narrative and you don't understand why people are doing the things that they're doing and you just feel lost and detached because really, you know what it is? You're afraid. You're afraid that you're no longer going to be relevant. And that quite honestly is true. But once you embrace the fact that the world is changing around us, it becomes much more open. It becomes much more beautiful. It becomes much more honest. You have a more thorough understanding of the human condition. The human condition is change. You can't stop it. And here's the thing. You're going to die. So am I. I probably have fewer summers ahead of me than I have behind me. I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm not going to get those summers back. But I will enjoy and embrace the ones that I have. And when I'm gone, and we'll all be gone one day, because I think we forget that. The world is not going to stop because we are gone. People will be sad for a little while. They'll mourn us for a bit. They'll share some stories. And they will go on with their lives. That is where we are in the world. Nothing is going to stop for you. Nothing is going to take you back to the past where America was great. That is a fantasy that we all need to wake up from. I said all that to say this. And I don't want to be dismissive in these next words, that I don't care that Kamala Harris is a woman. I don't. I know some people want to make it a big deal. I didn't care that Hillary Clinton was a woman. I don't care if people are gay. And I'm not being flippant when I say this. I want to explain it to you. I don't care if somebody is a transgender or the bisexuals or maybe the trisexuals. They'll try anything. Or trisexual could mean they have sex riding on a tricycle. I don't know. It's none of my business. I'm old school. Boring, heterosexual, cisgender, straight fella. I like lady folks, especially the ones that have Coke bottle bodies. However, I digress. I will vote for someone. I will support someone. I will work with someone that is gay, bisexual, trisexual maybe, transgender, a woman, a man. I'll work with any black people, Latino people, the Asians. We don't give the Asians enough love. There's many Asians, lots of flavors of Asians. Let me tell you why I choose and why I want to work with those people. Not because I want to be special or because I want to get a pat on the back or some accolade because I'm working with diverse groups of people. Because let's say somebody is Asian. I want to know the coping mechanisms that you had to develop specifically because of how America interacts with you and how America may stereotype you or how America may stifle you because you're Asian. I want to work with the gays because I want to know what coping mechanisms you develop because it may help me figure out new coping mechanisms as a black man. I want to work with the women. I want women to have all of the power and all of the authority that they want. And I want to be able to learn from women and how they navigate structural systems that were designed to keep them down. I want those individuals to have political power so that they can bring their coping mechanisms to the policy-making boardroom. This is the only way in which we can have the kind of country that we think America is supposed to be. Now, I'm going to take a break. And I'm going to come back from that break. And I want to share some things with you about these different groups that are supporting Donald Trump. I also want to talk about the Latino Hispanic brothers and sisters. We're going to talk about them. There's some relevance here. The fact that the Democrats have steadily been losing Latino and Hispanic support. It peaked with Obama. It is bottoming out with Kamala Harris. I want to give some explanation to that. But also, if I look at my own neighborhood, I live in a black-ass neighborhood. You understand me? Everybody is black. I live right around the corner from Homer Blow, actually. Everything in my neighborhood is black. The people, the cars, everything. The children, my mailman, everything is black. The Amazon drivers even to come to my neighborhood. Everybody is black. I have got more Latinos living on my block than in the 20 years that I've lived. There were none for 20 years. In the last, my neighbors moved in 2020. And beginning of the pandemic, I'm looking out my window, I'm seeing them move in. Now, this is a curious time to move in. So I got Latino neighbors, and then the house at the end of my block, it's like a 19 or a 20-year-old Hispanic. He's really young, and he has like parties all the time. And it's a bunch of like young kids. And they're out there kicking it, which good for them because they live at the end of my block. If I lived next to them, it would be a problem. And I would probably yell at them in Spanish. But just on my block, in one of the blackest Central City, black North Side neighborhoods there is, the Latinos are even living on my block. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm skeptical. Because of all the places, why my block? But I think that might just show a whole demographic shift. They used to be kind of cordoned off to the south side. That's where the Latinos and the Hispanics live. And now they're coming and living in the black neighborhoods. So I want to just kind of spin all this stuff together and then also try and ascertain why the Democrats are doing worse with Latino voters than ever before, but also speak to a couple of different cohorts and demographics, not even demographics, like affiliations, I'm going to call them, of Caucasian folks that are all lending their support to Trump and try and make sense out of all of it in these next 30 days until the election. And you're only going to get this kind of in-depth, detailed editorial commentary on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes exclusively on 101.7 The Truth. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
What's good, y'all? This is 101.7 The Truth's Telly Hughes, and I am Milwaukee. The goal of Truth Be Told with DT and Telly is to provide a platform for citizens of Milwaukee and Truth Nation to have their voices heard about concerns that have daily, direct impact. So join the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations where you can speak your truth. We are the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, Milwaukee Black Talk.
So you may have heard of Project 2025, a plan crafted by Trump and his MAGA loyalists to give Trump virtually unchecked political power and take Black America backwards. Here's how. Project 2025 strips away our voting rights protections, and it eliminates the Department of Education. It would siphon public school funding to private schools, leaving our kids behind. Planning on going to college? Good luck paying for it. Project 2025 cuts funding for federal student loans. Trump's Project 2025 would also make states monitor women's pregnancies and it bans abortion. Project 2025 would also gut Obamacare, ripping away health care from millions. Simply put, Trump's Project 2025 would be devastating to Black America. But we can stop it by voting for Kamala Harris for president, because we are not going back.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for president.
In our community, you will find a Center for Food Security. You'll discover a Center for Behavioral Health Support, a proven Center for Home Care, a successful Center for Employment, a Center for Trauma Recovery, and more. We are Centers for Independence. Find out how you can support Centers for Independence's work and mission at cfihope.org/independence.
1017 The Truth is the proud home of Marquette Hilltoppers football. Tune in Friday night as the Hilltoppers look to extend their winning streak to 6 in a row as they host the Brookfield Central Lancers. The football action kicks off at 7 p.m. on 1017 The Truth. Marquette University High School football is presented by Gruber Law Offices and sponsored by Capital Insurance Agency, Magic Productions, Annex Wealth Management, C.G. Schmidt, Left's Lucky Town, Boyle Frederickson Intellectual Property Law, and Marquette University High School.
After 125 years, Port Washington State Bank knows how to help your business expand. I'm James Showalter, president of PWSB and a proud resident of Ozaukee County. As a fifth-generation family business, PWSB cares deeply about helping you achieve your goals. Our commercial lending team takes the time to listen and provide the care you deserve. It's the way we've done business since 1899. Stop into Port Washington State Bank today.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome back. Our phone number, if you want to call and say stuff, or if you want to text, because some of y'all are shy, is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. Oh, look. Oh, look who's calling me. Well. Hello, DJ. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And you know what? You look very nice today, by the way. You look very nice.
You don't know how I look.
I can assume.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But that's probably not true because I have on sweatpants and a sweatshirt, so I'm sure that's not true.
Oh, no, that's how. No. That's how we like it now. But I don't want to distract you. Please go on with your brilliant commentary.
Called in to talk about, and I'm sorry I don't really have a voice this morning, but I just wanted to comment on Latinx voters and why I'm going to say perhaps you mean like the separation between who's voting Democrat, who's voting Republican, and not just like who's not voting. But like I think it's a internalized racism thing where folks are anti-immigrant because this country is anti-immigrant, which is preposterous because this country is made up of immigrants. But I think that it's a anti-immigrant thing that's also coming from like the history of just like how America assumes what it means to be American means to be like anti-black. It also means to be anti-immigrant. And so in part, a lot of that is coming from just going along with what it means to be an American and what it means to like truly respect America. And in some ways, unfortunately, to a lot of white folks and just people in general, what Donald Trump is saying is talking about preserving what it means to be American, and that means all of those toxic things as well. So it's really an unfortunate thing because it's voting against thyself. whether or not you are an immigrant, have immigrants in your family, or don't have any association. In general, people of color who vote Republican currently, like right now, you're voting against yourself because this individual is actually seeking to take away a lot of our rights. And that's not just people of color, but like white folks too. Like if you're not a billionaire, you don't make enough money to be voting for Donald Trump. You just simply don't. So for me, it doesn't make sense for anybody, white, people of color, what have you, to be supporting Republican right now. Even what's the guy, Dewey Strobel, I think that's his name, and his crazy policies, and the other man who's saying that if you're an elderly person, you shouldn't be able to vote. Like, are y'all listening to what Republicans are proposing right now, or are we just like, just existing in the world? I'm not going to go on a tangent. I'm not fully woken up on this Monday morning, but that's what I have to say about Latinx voters.
Thank you, DJ. You're always welcome to call, whether you're awake or not. Appreciate you. I have a whole bunch of articles because I want to add more depth and journalism to a pretty big assumption as to why I believe Latino voters now more than ever. It's not that they aren't supporting Kamala Harris. It's just that they see something in themselves or in an America, their version of America, that Trump speaks to better than Kamala Harris does. There are dozens of Latin American countries. There's a whole diaspora. It is a culture, it's an ethnicity, it's a history, it's a language, it's food, it's music, it's its own media. They got Telemundo. Do they still got the other one? Univision. I remember back in the day, I used to watch Telemundo and Univision, because that's how you have to say it. And they used to have this show called El Blablazo. And then there was another show called El Super Blablazo. And I didn't know what they were saying. And
is that really what the show was called?
Yeah, El Blablazo. It's like the hit, like the smash. Ricky, you need to rest your voice.
Is that what it was? I sound like your favorite caller. I sound like Bob.
You sound like you're pubescent, like your voice is cracking.
What does that even mean?
Good night,
Sherwin?
Ricky. Good night. Good night, Ricky. Go bye-bye.
Depressing.
Go night-night. So I used to watch Telemundo in Univision. Sunday. Because they would show, their culture is different. They would just show a woman. It'd be like a regular game show, and a woman would just come out in a thong. It was just very exciting to me. Their culture is so different. It's vivacious. It's lively. It's colorful. But I also know because they have their own nationalities. Somebody from Costa Rica is not the same as someone from Nicaragua. It's not the same as someone from Mexico. It's not the same as someone from Panama. It's not the same as someone from Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Colombia. By the way, black men, if you want to go to a country, you want to leave America because you're tired of America and you want to get loved on, oh, I Poppy. You want to get some I Poppy? Go to Colombia. They love us.
Yeah, that brother's starving.
That's right. Oh, as soon as you get off the plane, that's what you hear collectively. Hi.
This is a sick Negro.
So if you ain't talking, you just gonna let the little hotkeys speak. All right, that's. But they come to this country, and they are competing amongst one another for finite resources, jobs, opportunities, seats in schools. They don't want immigration because they don't want more people from their countries to come to America and take what they have carved out of the mud. They are in competition with one another. And when Donald Trump says, we want to deport, or we want to stop them from coming or build a wall. Those that are here, however they got their legal status, however they got their visas, however they got their amnesty, they don't want more people from their diaspora to come here and take away the jobs and opportunities that they got. And that makes sense. It is economic, competition that they don't want. Black folks, we're not in competition with them. We don't want most of the jobs that they do. That's why a lot of them are here. They're no competition to us, but when they come here and they adopt Donald Trump's version of America, well, now we have a bit of a problem. Because there's something that they don't quite understand. The Republicans are making it seem like they are very inclusive. Here's what I believe the Republicans are doing, and Donald Trump is the leader of this movement. White people in this country, because of our interactions with them as black people and those descended from slaves, are afraid of us. They're afraid. The slave master would even say, I got to sleep with one eye open. Slave master would say, one day this plantation of 200 and 300 slaves can overtake all of us if they so desire. Do you think that they don't know? White European colonizers don't know what happened in Haiti in 1804? The only successful slave rebellion in the New World. You think that they aren't afraid of us? They're petrified of us. But what they're doing is they're trying to tell African Americans, oh, they're coming over here and taking your jobs too. No, they're not, fool. You just want us to be scared like you. So here's something I just can't understand. Y'all gonna get mad at me, and I say get mad all you want to. We're gonna sort this out over the next 30 days. And then you're gonna get your feelings hurt after 30 days after the election, and we're gonna come back together. But we're going to have a little tension between now and then. Black men, you have no damn reason nor business to be voting for Donald Trump and this incarnation of Republicans, because this is a party for scared white men. Damn. What are you scared of as a black man? What you scared of? They're scared of us. We are giving our vote to a cohort of people that are afraid of our power. And what are we doing? Giving them more power. And the only reason why they exist in this form and fashion, Make America Great Again, is because they are petrified of us. Our power, our politics, our intelligence, the fact that they've tried with everything they have, every bit of structural and institutional might they could muster to destroy us, and they just can't. They are afraid. We have no business and black women, I ain't got to worry about y'all voting for Trump, because y'all know. Jasmine Crockett was here yesterday. Ain't that a blip? She was here during the Packer game. But I think that event was for black women.
Go Pack, go.
Jordan Love shouldn't have started.
Absolutely not.
He should not have started at all. I was telling Vince Vetrano last week, as we had a little conversation, myself and some of the TMJ people, talking about what the name is, Sanford Willis, the other black quarterback, William Willis. I don't know what his first name is. Last name is Willis. He had the momentum. He went 2-0. Jordan Love is 0-2. So I was saying, don't mess with momentum. Let Jordan Love get all healed. Let Jordan Love get his little, his confidence back, whatever, and keep starting. Because the number 2 guy is going to need reps, because Jordan Love may get hurt again. So I think they should have kept Willis in, because he was 2-0.
Didn't he have like 3 interceptions the first half?
He sucked. And then they turned the ball over a bunch. And then, all right, I'm going to take a break, come back, continue our conversation. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Okay, Fred, so I got some questions.
What's up?
Where should I go if I want to start my own business?
You go to EerieInsurance.com.
Okay, Fred, so where should I go if my kid needs an internship? Or if I need a job, where do I go?
You go to EerieInsurance.com.
Okay, so what if I want to work for a company that believes in diversity, has great benefits, and growth for people like us?
You already know. It's EerieInsurance.com.
Man, so Fred, I just need to go to Erie Insurance?
Go to EerieInsurance.com for all that you need.
It's amazing!
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Tory Lowe with his truth.
Breaking news, Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office is investigating the death of 43-year-old Devontae L. Mitchell outside of the Hyatt Regency on Sunday as a homicide. Breaking news, a Milwaukee mother is speaking out after her 17-year-old daughter, Amira Wallace, was shot and killed at Milwaukee's Deneen Park. This happened just after midnight on July 22nd. Breaking news. According to a sheriff's office report, Sean Grayson said he shot Sonia Massey after fearing she would throw boiling water at him, which would have caused great bodily harm or death. Breaking news. Body cam video shows fatal police shooting of 4-year-old Illinois boy and man holding him hostage. Police responding to a domestic violence call shot a 4-year-old named Terrell Marshawn Miller and his mother's boyfriend. Now that I have your attention, these are families that are more than just a news story. These are families who are hurting. These are families that are searching for justice. As a community, it's our duty to get involved and make sure we do our part to make sure that these families receive the justice that they're searching for. Today, it's their families in the news. Tomorrow is yours. This is why it's important for us to make sure that we stay on the front lines and make sure that we do our part to help change what's going on in our neighborhood. Whether it's police brutality, whether it's senseless violence, whether it's human trafficking, we all can do our part and help each and every family that's affected negatively in our communities get justice.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Tori Lowe Show, weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Prostate cancer screening is a simple blood test. It's a simple blood test. Get it done. If you want info on how to take action, the Prostate Cancer Foundation is here to help. Go to pcf.org today. Remember, it's your life, and it's a simple blood test. Get it done.
It's Marketplace, Wisconsin, the Governor's Conference on Diverse Business Development. December 11th and 12th at the Baird Center in Milwaukee. Register at marketplacewisconsin.com.
Truck crash? Call Gruber offices. One call, that's all.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is not for you to get offended. And if you do get offended, you got to ask yourself why you're getting offended. White men are afraid that they're losing their country. Doesn't Donald Trump always say we got to take our country back because they're afraid they're losing it? They're afraid. Fear is the cornerstone of their whole campaign. Do you know that they're sending a letter out to people? Because the only way they can win is with fear and division, which is petty. And it's weak. Why can't you offer a vision and a future for the American people when you know you have no power to stop the changing demographic in this country? There's nothing you can do about it, even their little abortion stunt. And let me not minimize abortion, but they're trying to make it so that when white women, it's really all women, but y'all got to know that white women, because there are more of them, terminate more pregnancies than any other race of women. If white women were not terminating pregnancies, or if white women were having children in abundance, and I'm going to give you, I got some information about why nobody's really having kids anymore. Women in particular are now leading the charge of folks that are saying they don't want children. Men, for some reason, are still the gender that wants children. Women do not want children. That's why populations are declining all over the place. So now you got to know that if Black and Latino women were the only women having abortions, not only would they be covered, hell, they'd be free, they'd be encouraged, but because white women are having more abortions and it's further decimating the white population. And don't get mad at me for saying this, or some of y'all get mad because it's me that's telling you this, so that's why you get mad, but it's the truth. And they don't care about the lives of these babies. Look how they get treated once they're born. There's no resources for these mothers and these children, trying to take all that stuff away. So they're afraid. And this is what I can't understand about black people, but I guess I get it. You know, you don't have to know any black history to graduate from any public high school, any university in this country. Like, black history, once you get into college, is an elective. You can, like, take classes, but you got to pay. You're paying tuition to learn about black people. But this is actually by design, and it works really well. So if young people coming out of high school compulsory education, we call it, coming out of high school. Get a high school diploma or a GED. And you don't know anything about black people, black struggle, black history, like it wasn't a part of your curriculum, meaning you weren't tested on it. Could you imagine a history class or an education pedagogy somewhere in this country where if you did not pass black history, you couldn't get a diploma? That's all we would need to do to begin the process of reparation. Because they think that America's the best thing that's ever happened to black people because they are being shielded, us too, from the atrocities that happen to us. So all you have to do is graduate a bunch of young people into the world that know very little about black people, and then America will take over after that. They'll be bombarded with media and with stereotypes, and then they will naturally begin to hate African Americans because if you don't have a foundation of knowledge into the history of black people and our trajectory in this country, once you get out into the real world, you're just going to be bombarded with these negative images. And because you weren't given foundational education about who we are, why you see what we see, why we have the disparities that we have, why we have the negative statistics that we have, you're just going to simply think that it's our fault. So America actually readies people to be manipulated when it comes to race and culture of other people. By not teaching children at an age-appropriate way. They're even banning books, even books that aren't even like that major, because they don't want any kind of books about black history, fiction or nonfiction, to entice curiosity for white kids and other races of kids to learn more about us. Because if you read a good book about black history and black culture, like, oh, wow, I think I want to read another one. So they're banning as many as they can. There's one political party that is at the forefront of that, and I cannot figure out for the life of me why black people think that they belong to that political party. You are voting for something that is afraid of you. And maybe you're afraid of you too, because let me be honest with you. I suppose if I'm going to be the victim of a crime, it is much more likely that it's going to be a black person. So maybe I will vote for the Republicans so I can deport the blacks. Oops, you can't deport the blacks. We don't got nowhere to go. The whole ethos of the Republican Party right now is based upon fear of black people, in particular black men. Why do you think the cops treat us the way that they do? Why do you think that they suspend and expel black children at the rates in which they do? Not just here, but all over the country. Why do you think that there's racism in the medical field? Why do you think our life expectancies are shorter? Why do you think? Because they're afraid of us. And we ought to be afraid of them. But we're not. We're not. You ever see a white person walk into a majority black space? They're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh no, it's all these blacks. What's the worst that's going to happen to them? They're going to learn how to dance and they'll have some delicious seasoned catfish. It's the worst thing that's going to happen. They might even get a date. You might have good sex. That's the only thing that's going to happen. They walk into our spaces, they get scared because they know. Why do you think they get scared? Because they're thinking, wow, my people have done a lot of really bad stuff to these black people. If they wanted to attack me right now for me being white, they would have every justification to do so. But guess what? We don't. We probably call you baby, tell you to come sit down, get a plate, play some Earth, Wind, and Fire music, and teach you how to step. When I walk into white spaces, I'm not afraid. Like, what y'all gonna do to me that hasn't already been done? I walk into a white space like I own it, which is probably stupid and very arrogant. But there's a confidence that I have when I walk into white spaces. And some black people know exactly what I'm talking about. They don't have the same confidence when they walk in our spaces. Our establishments, our bars, our restaurants, anything in our community, they always have a little trepidation. You can like see it on their faces. They're like, oh, they're kind of looking around. Black folks, we don't feel like that when we walk into white spaces. Because we know them. Because we learned about them. Because we were taught about them. We know them better than they know themselves sometimes. We're not afraid of them. Even if Kamala Harris had a campaign that was using fear to divide black people against white people, like, oh, vote for me because the whites are scary, we wouldn't even buy it because we're not afraid of them. They're the ones that are afraid of us, and maybe rightfully so because we're very smart. Black people are very smart. We know math real good. Some better than others. But I'm not afraid. And a lot of us are not afraid we walk into their spaces. because we know them. They're not strangers to me because I know their stereotypes. I know their bigotry. Even when they appear to be nice, somewhere there's a kernel in the back of their mind that is afraid of me. And because I know that going in, I know how to act. I know how to react. I know how to ease their little fears. It's a supreme manipulation, but I don't do it maliciously. I do it because I know them. I'm going to take a break, come back. Tim Wise, who is a famed anti-racism professor who's from Tennessee and also Jewish, who speaks to the conditions of racism in ways in which I wished more white people did. So he tweeted some stuff over the weekend, and I want to share it with you. Talks about these different slices of Caucasian America that are very loyal to Donald Trump. And there's a common thread amongst these many different slices of white America. We're going to discuss that on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, exclusively on 101.7 The Truth. Make sure you join us on the YouTube. Go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 101.7 The Truth, or just search The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, and then you'll see my face. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
It's Dr. Ken Harris, and you can watch me now live on YouTube every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can watch the best radio show in Wisconsin by going to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Watch me explore the issues which are shaping our community while also having fun discussions, pop culture, current events, all kind of stuff going on right here on YouTube right now by subscribing to 101.7 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube.
This is your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
People will tell you that race is a social construct and that there's no biological reality that distinguishes between a white individual and a black individual. So what does that mean if there are these quote-unquote disparities, right? It means that the way we move through a society is markedly different, right? And that the experience that we have has biological consequences. Is when you're in a society where people are constantly discriminating against a certain group, denying access, don't have control over the institutions that govern our lives. All of those things create a biological reality and a response, whether it's a stress hormone or a fear or something that could be passed on, what we call epigenetics, which means what my mother or my grandmother experienced had an effect on what formed me in my responses to those stressors. That's how we can be two individual people with very little difference, but have totally, vastly different experiences as we move through our reproductive health.
This has been your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that American Family Insurance agents can help build a customized renter's policy so you can protect stuff like this, or this, or even this. Well, case in point. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Sybaris Pool Suites. Romantic, luxurious, affordable. A place where romance touches paradise and the memories of a lifetime are made. Sybaris offers a variety of room styles, including the exquisite Chalet Suite, which spans 3 levels and features your own private swimming pool with cascading waterfall, soothing whirlpool tub, a cozy fireplace, and much more to make your stay unforgettable. They are located in Mequon, just north of Milwaukee. Take a virtual tour at Sybaris.com.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Okay, so are there other people that didn't hear us? So somebody just said in the YouTube chat they can't hear us over the air. Stuff always broke around here. We ain't been in this studio. How long we been here? What year is this? 2020. We've been here 2 years. This stuff should be under warranty. Rick, is everything all right? Is the meters moving and all the stuff working? Is the electricity on? Do they pay the electricity bill at Good Karma Brands?
Yes, Sherwin's everything's working.
All right. A couple people said they couldn't hear us over the air. Well, then go to the app or go to the YouTube or whatever. Let's talk to. Listen here now, Bob. You need to be on topic. You understand?
Yes. How you doing, Sherwin? I just don't understand how it's not enough reason. It's not enough reason for the Mexicans to vote Republican when they say build a wall when Trump says build. I just don't understand it. And I got
it's not just the Mexicans, Bob. Let's not reduce the Latin American diaspora to just a country out of dozens. It's many Latinos, many Hispanics. It's many of them. Puerto Rico.
Do you know? Okay. Do you know, to me, that Waltz is an ally. Tim Waltz, he's an ally. He's very, just like Joe Biden is an ally. However, he is not the best pick for vice president. Although
it's too late.
I know, but wait a minute. Oh. You know who should have been picked?
Who, Bob?
Hakeem Jeffries.
No.
But guess what?
No.
Why not?
Because he has way more power as the potential Speaker of the House. And plus, you can't have a ticket that's that black.
How do you think he got more
Hakeem and
power?
Kamala? Oh, that's ridiculous. That's almost too black for me. Got to balance it out a little bit.
He couldn't win. That's why she had to pick, Waltz. And,
And he's from New York. This country needs people that represent Midwestern values. She's from California. Hakeem Jeffries is from New York. That's a no-go. That's not going to work. Even if Hakeem Jeffries was white, it's not going to work. And plus, he's second in line to the presidency anyway, being Speaker of the House, assuming the Democrats get control of the House of Representatives, which they should.
Well, that depends on the debate tomorrow, and I'd like for you to elaborate on that one, and I get off the air on that. Right. I wonder I'm in the middle. I knew Kamala Harris is going to tear Trump's butt up, but I don't know. I am really in the middle about Waltz and Vance tomorrow. I don't know who's going to win.
Tim Walz is.
I hope so, but...
You don't need to hope. It's going to beat him. It's not even going to be close. He's going to do it in a way that people are going to regret J.D. Vance even more. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate your call. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. You didn't have to hang up on him. I want him to hang up by himself, Ricky. Tim Walz is going to son J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is going... They're eating the cats and the dogs. They're eating. Tim Walz is going to be like, son, I used to have students like you when I was a high school teacher. He's just going to diminish him. J.D. Vance called Donald Trump a Nazi. Said he was unfit to be president as recent as 2020. J.D. Vance is an unusual sort. So, you know how some African Americans moved from the South and, during a couple of different migrations, and then they came to the North, and then eventually, after subsequent generations, they kind of forget their Southern roots. There might be remnants of their Southern roots, but they become fully Northernized, I'm going to call it. They get good jobs. Their kids and grandkids going to college now. They might own their own homes, have a little bit of intergenerational wealth. They become very detached. Like nobody goes down south anymore for their summer vacations. Subsequent generations of African Americans are going to become detached from the South. So J.D. Vance tries to tell people like, oh, I'm from a poor family from West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, a coal mining family. He left all of that. His family left that to get industrial jobs in Ohio and become upper middle class. Dude ain't connected to them cold-faced poor whites that are dying of black lung disease. He's not connected to them people. In fact, he despises those people. Totally does. He's not connected to them, but he's using that to make it seem like he is a salt of the earth kind of person. Like, oh, my family was in the coal mines, coughing up dust. We know what it's like to be poor. No, you don't, sir. You went to law school, and then you work for some like billionaire hedge fund dude. He's just politically ambitious. That's all it is. He don't even believe that MAGA stuff. It's just his fastest track to power. And it's so unfortunate because you can manipulate poor people and people that are destitute and people that are hopeless. You can rip them off. Okay? Corporations are making record profits. But then those corporations that are making record profits, a lot of those conservative CEOs, Elon Musk is a perfect example. They love Donald Trump. All they're doing is raising their prices on everybody because what the Republicans can then do is they can vouch for their friends in corporate America that's going to get all the tax breaks and all the tax cuts that are making record profits. Y'all, this is not inflation. They're ripping you off and they're blaming Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and y'all are falling for it. That's exactly what's happening. They're saying, oh, a recession is going to come. No, it's not. When you're having a recession, like y'all need to know some basic economics. If you don't know basic economics, they're going to lie to you and you're going to believe it. Corporate America is like, these fools will pay whatever we charge for food, for groceries, for supplies, materials. They'll pay it. And then Trump and the campaign is like, let's just blame the Democrats. Let's blame the Inflation Reduction Act. Because guess what? The Inflation Reduction Act actually works. Inflation is where it was prior to the pandemic. It's less than 3% right now. But corporations like, y'all some fools. We're just going to rip you off. And then the Republicans are going to run on the fact that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ruined the economy. No, it's the corporations that are charging outrageous prices for everything. They're playing us, taking advantage of ignorance. They're saying because the reason why you don't have a job, the reason why you don't have enough money, it's because of these migrants coming over. Your migrants ain't taking your job. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
New manager.
We're going to band together and we'll have these guys ready to compete.
New team.
Done! Churiel, a grand slam!
Same old crew.
Swing and a miss! He struck him out!
It's playoff baseball season.
Willie to left and deep. Way back. Warning track at the wall. Leaping gone.
The hunt for Brew October on the award-winning 1017 The Truth is sponsored by Delta Dental.
Truth Nation, it is the effective communication coach Denise Thomas from Truth Be Told with DT and Telly. Look, y'all, I got to let you know that the best morning show on planet Earth is now streaming live on YouTube every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Yes, Truth Telling Hits with Telly and Truth Swiping are coming at you live and in color every weekday on YouTube. So go to YouTube right now to subscribe to 1017 The Truth and watch Telly and I do our thing and get your morning started off right. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube.
Truth Nation, let us talk our ish for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like Vice President Kamala Harris.
Talk with your listeners to remind them of their power and the importance of voting. And the folks in Milwaukee turned out for me and Joe Biden in 2020. You showed what was possible.
U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, are you a racist?
Absolutely not.
Is Donald Trump a racist?
Absolutely not. No.
And civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump.
Thank you all for speaking truth to power. That's the most important thing, because right now there are those in our community who would rather we just be quiet.
Right.
We have to disturb the peace now more than ever.
Tap into the award-winning and nationally recognized 1017 The Truth by downloading the Truth app and streaming us live at 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Attention Milwaukee County residents. Are you prepared for the unexpected? From sudden storms to unforeseen emergencies, readiness is key. Take charge of your safety with a family emergency plan and an essential emergency kit. Stay informed and connected during emergencies.
For tips and resources, visit us online or contact the Milwaukee County Office of Emergency Management. Prepare now, stay safe, and build a resilient community together, because readiness starts with you.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee. A locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
So tell me, Slim, what you want to do.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I want to read y'all something. Okay, so you know how there's like these different like slices, constituencies of people. So you have like the evangelicals, and then you'll have, you know, white men under 30, and then you'll have white men without a college degree, right? These different constituency groups. And because this election, most elections in the last probably 20 years are driven by data, sometimes they focus on these constituency groups and their percentages, that they're for Kamala or against Kamala, or for Trump or against Trump. But we're missing something. So we're looking at the trees and we're missing the forest. And Tim Wise breaks it down in a way that these commentators like Steve Kornacki and others that give you all the data, they're missing something. And I want to try and make it as simple as possible. I don't want to overcomplicate this election. This election is not hard, y'all. It isn't hard. Stop making it about policies, because most of y'all, no offense to the people that listen to this show, y'all know what policy is. But most other people, they don't know. They don't know how a bill becomes a law. Most people don't know who their alderperson is. Most people don't know what an alderperson does. So they can't be trusted to have articulate conversations on policy. It is who is in control or running the levers of Congress at the federal level that has a profound impact on your life at the local level. But if you don't know what local officials do, then these higher level policy conversations that take place with the president and the Senate a lot of times are over people's heads and out of their leagues. We know that civics education has suffered dramatically. And that's on purpose too. Because if you come out of school learning about, especially black kids in public schools, there's two things I don't want. I'm going to speak on behalf of the oppressor. 3 things that I don't want you to know when you come out of school. I'm going to give you your high school diploma and let you apply to colleges or apply to be a welder or whatever we're telling black people to do nowadays, or apply to, I don't know, be a hair braider. Don't black people braid a lot of hair and sell dinners on Facebook? Is that what we do career-wise? You know, I'm kidding, joking. Everybody calm down. But there's a couple of things that I don't want you to know. I don't want you to know how an idea becomes a law, because if you don't know that process, then you're not going to know where to get involved, and you're not going to know how you're being oppressed. You're going to be oppressed in the shadows. So I do not want to teach you how a bill becomes a law. I do not want you to know the power that you have in this democracy, the power that you have to organize. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to keep that out. Or it'll be just like a unit, a chapter on civics, and you won't remember it by the time you're a junior in high school anyway, right? So I don't want you to know how the process works so that we can oppress you without you knowing. Okay, next thing is, I am not going to teach you about money, because if I don't teach you about money, you will be financially illiterate and probably financially dependent. I'm not going to tell you what to do with money. I'm not going to tell you how to invest money. I'm not going to tell you where to put your money. I'm not going to tell you about credit. I'm not going to tell you anything about money, because if you come out of school and not know anything about money and you get out into the real world as an adult, and if you don't know anything about money, chances are you're going to be irresponsible with it. And if you're going to be irresponsible with it, well, then that makes you even more vulnerable. So I'm not going to tell you how an idea becomes a law, Okay? These are things I'm not going to tell you. And this is our education pedagogy right now in this country, especially when it pertains to black children. So I'm not going to teach you about politics and policy and how an idea becomes a law, because if you don't know how it works, you're not going to know where the next punch is coming from, because it's going to come from something in which you never studied and never understood. Also not going to teach you about money. Not going to teach you how to invest it. Not going to teach you what to do with it. Not going to teach you about the importance of credit. Not going to teach you about home ownership. I'm not going to teach you about generational wealth, because if you know those things, you may be well on your way to leveling the playing field. The only thing more important than this thing is more important than money itself, is knowing what to do with it. Because if you know what to do with money, you don't even need a lot of it. You just need patience. Money will grow. Now, they were able to grow their money and have this huge wealth gap because they were able to buy houses 80 years ago. That's all they did. The federal government made a deal with banks. Banks never wanted to lend money to people for houses. Banking in this country, like, y'all got to know, this is really important. It's like central to the wealth disparity we have in this country. Central. In the 1930s, during the Great Depression, banks were primarily institutions that gave money to businesses, to farms. They didn't give money to individual people. You're too much of a risk. Somebody would go to a bank and like, hey, can I get $20,000? The bank would be like, screw you. I ain't giving you 20 grand. For what? Go suck an egg, is what the banks would say to individual people. Then the federal government came in and said, look, give the people the 20 grand. And the bank's like, we don't want to. They're individual people. They might get laid off, or they might get lazy. They may not pay us back. We don't want to give them no 20 grand. Screw them. They can go suck an egg. Federal government was like, what if we back the loans? And the bank's like, huh? Why would you do that? Just trust us. You give individual people mortgages, we will federally insure. So then if the person defaults or they don't pay the money back, we'll pay you back. The federal government will. The banks are like, all right. I mean, you're stupid for doing this, federal government, but all right, whatever you want to do, as long as we get our money back. And they're like, yeah, we'll have a Fannie Mae and a Freddie Mac, and we'll have federal insurers. Oh, no, don't worry about it. We'll insure your mortgage. Just give people the money. And the bank's like, all right, if you insist. But then the federal government said there's going to be a caveat. And the banks were like, all right, you have us here. We're listening. Don't give the money or mortgages to black people, so we can have a vehicle of wealth that black people cannot participate in, because we don't really know what we want to do with black people yet. We know that we don't want to give them access to the growth in real estate. We got to figure out, are we going to use them as labor? Are they going to be cheap labor? But we do not want them to have any appreciable assets. And the banks were like, whatever you say. The banks actually didn't care. The banks just wanted to know they were going to get their money back, or they were going to be made whole if individual people defaulted. That was it. It was a deal between our racist federal government and the banks. We make it seem like it was a banking thing. The banks didn't want to give money to anybody. White people, Europeans, like, we're not wasting our time. Why would we give you $20,000 so you can buy a dwelling when we can give, this business, this company, this corporation, we can give Coca-Cola $200 million and make $70 million in interest. There's no motivation for banks to give money to individual people, till the federal government stepped in and said, we are going to create a class of white wealth, and that white people will always have a financial advantage. And then when we have black children in public schools, once we desegregate them, we're not going to teach black people about money, so they will be in a constant loop of poverty. And then we're going to make sure that black people and black children and public school students in general don't know how a bill becomes a law, how an idea becomes a tool of permanent oppression that is enforced by the police. We're not going to share that with them, so we can constantly control them. And dare I say, it has worked. And how do I know it's worked? Black support for Trump. They planned the whole thing. They planned it. We can make black people hate who we hate. And who we hate is also black people. Man, if that's not some genius psychology, I actually got to give it up to him, because that's just cold-blooded. That's gangster to the highest degree. we will make them think that they are poor and their money is not going far enough because of a Kamala Harris and Joe Biden policy, and they'll actually believe it. Because they weren't taught critical thinking, they weren't taught about policy, they weren't taught about how corporate profits are gouging people. We're not on our way to a recession. If you're on your way to a recession, business is not making record profits. Like Coca-Cola was quoted as saying, Coca-Cola and Pepsi both, they're like, yeah, we could lower our prices, but now we're going to raise everything by 40%. Now, if you look at like the product lines that Coca-Cola and Pepsi respectively control, that in and of itself can create what we think is inflation, but it's not, because people don't even know what the hell inflation is. Inflation is the devaluation of the dollar. Businesses and companies cannot make record profits when the dollar is devalued. The dollar is holding steady. It's still low compared to other currencies, but you don't have record profits if you're heading toward a recession. They're telling people we're heading toward a recession in this country, which is completely false, but folks don't know any better. They're taking advantage of people's ignorance. There's a letter being sent in Ohio. This is what I was alluding to earlier, but I think I got distracted. And it's totally fake. It's false. And this is how they are trying to manipulate people. And so when I explain to you about this letter, why somebody would still want to vote for a political party that has to lie to try and get votes or has to scare people to get votes instead of actually coming up with solutions to our problem. And these are really smart people. That's the problem that I have with this, because I remember a time when Democrats and Republicans, they ran their best and their brightest so they can have high-level discussions about how we move everybody in this country forward, regardless of race, gender, et cetera, et cetera. We just moved everybody forward because it was good for the country, because we wanted America to be better prepared than China. We wanted America to be better prepared than Russia. So we wanted everybody to benefit from policies when Democrats and Republicans compromise. Now they're like, screw it. We'll run anybody. So here's the letter. The letter says, if Kamala Harris wins, I'm paraphrasing the letter, people are going to be forced to have to house migrants. And a lady went to the news. She was like, is this true? I got this letter. And I'm like, no, it's not true. But this is what the Trump campaign is doing. Could you imagine that? Sending people letters like, oh, by the way, if you vote for Kamala Harris or if Donald Trump doesn't win, they're going to make migrants have to live in your house. Some of y'all don't even want your spouses to live in your house. Could you imagine that if a bunch of Mexican Haitians just showed up at your house like, hello? I'm not sure how that would sound. Hello, we're the Haitians. Kamala Harris said we can live here. Hi, my name is Maria. I'm a Mexican. Here are my children. Juan, Paco, Paola. What's another one? Rico. My youngest boy, Suave. Gerardo. And then Jaquan. His dad's black, apparently. Hi, we're some migrants. Can we come and live here? That's just insane, right? But that's how dumb they think America is. Tim Wise says, it's odd when people talk about the white male non-college vote being so strong for Trump, as if it's part of doing the work there was lack of college. As if the part doing the work there was the lack of college. Then Tim Wise goes on to say, the clear majority of folks of color without degrees, including men, aren't voting for Trump. 2, likewise, we hear about the white evangelical vote for Trump, as if the evangelical part was the key, but black evangelicals and other extremely religious folks of color are not voting for Trump. Number 3, we hear that it's the economy or economic anxiety or anger about inflation or whatever, but if economic concerns drove support for Trump, black folks would be lined up around the block for the man, but that's not the case. Number 4, some talk about the gender gap between men and women, ignoring the fact that among whites, even though there is a gap, both men and women have broken for Trump ×2. The overall gender gap is fueled by women of color who, for some unnamed reason, vote differently than white women do. Number 5, Tim Wise says, I guarantee that if someone polled white folks in the military and compared them to black and brown folks in the military, their voting patterns would also be quite different, but no one wants to ask why, let alone answer it. Number 6, because the answer is too uncomfortable for some people, and guess which people it's too uncomfortable for? The same people Tim Wise is talking about in the previously referenced points, only this time including many in that group who are not Trump supporters. It's not the white evangelicals. It's not the white military vote. It's not the white men without college degrees. It's just white people that are voting for Trump because he is scaring them into thinking they're going to lose their country to people that look like us. Because black evangelicals are not voting for Trump. Kamala Harris is going to go to black churches. And those, when I say black evangelicals, some of us are way more religious than them. Black folks in the military. Oh, the military vote, that's going to break for Trump. No, black soldiers is not voting for dude. Donald Trump is the white person's candidate because he is lying to people and telling them that he is going to create an America where diversity does not exist. Such an America would never, ever come to fruition. You can't, we're too much the fabric of this country. When I say we're the fabric of this country, we're the thread, the cloth, the needle, the sewing machine, the electricity that powers the sewing machine. We're the power plant. We're the coal that powers the power plant that sends the electricity through the wires to the house where you got the sewing machine and the needle and the thread. We're the hands. We're the feet. It's not going to happen. You know why Trump wants to get elected? Because he don't want to go to jail. Trump don't want to eat neutral loaf. Trump don't want to walk around in an orange jumpsuit. Trump does not want to be somebody's girlfriend in jail. And when I say girlfriend, I'm not talking about a woman. What if Trump went to jail and then turned transgender? What if Trump just wore like full makeup and said, well, as long as I'm here, I might as well make myself look more attractive to the men I'm going to be living with for the next 20 years? What if Trump's first day in Rikers, some big brother came up to him, here, Trump, hold my pocket. I don't want to hold your pocket. You better take my pocket. Yeah, hold on, let me see. Pull my pocket out. Let me see. Y'all see that? I don't want to hold your pocket. What does that mean? That means you mine. You belong to me, Orangey. Take this pocket and hold it. Fine, I'll take your pocket. Are we going to go to lunch together? I'm very hungry. I'm very starving. Yeah, I got something for you to eat, Trumpy. I'm going to get canceled for saying this, aren't I? Saying that Trump is going to be somebody's boyfriend in jail. I mean, why not? Who wouldn't want to say that they were dating the former president in the joint? All right, I'm going to take a break. You are listening to The Truth with Mr. Sherwin Hughes. That's my Instagram, by the way. It's Mr. Sherwin Hughes. But it's my private Instagram, so if you request me, you probably won't get accepted. I got another Instagram called Hughes Views. It's either Hughes Views or The Hughes Views. That one, I think, is public, so you can go ahead and join that one. What else? Join us on YouTube. Download the app. Listen online at 1017 The Truth. Whatever, we're on Spotify and iTunes. Where else we at? We're everywhere. I'll be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Coming with straight truth.
There's some issues when school boards use tactics that the law gives them by going into executive session to let people off the hook, like Keith Posley, who did not do his job. His number 2 didn't do their job. And number 3 and number 4 and all the area superintendents and the principals didn't do their job. But here we are, once again, MPS wants a count so they can get money.
Listen to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app.
hardworking family businesses, ambitious entrepreneurs, relationship builders, and job creators. Businesses like yours are the heart of Wisconsin, and Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation lives to help you realize your vision. Join them for Marketplace Wisconsin, the Governor's Conference on Diverse Business Development. It will be held on December 11th and 12th at the Baird Center in Milwaukee and virtually on the 10th. Presented by WEDC, Marketplace Wisconsin is a place for minority, women, LGBTQ+, veteran-owned and small businesses to network, explore government contracting, and grow. You keep our state moving with construction, janitorial services, logistics, transportation, technology, medical services, and more. And Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation wants to help propel your success too. Let's look forward together. Register for Marketplace Wisconsin today at marketplacewisconsin.com. That's marketplacewisconsin.com.
My overall experience with Gruber Law Offices has been phenomenal.
The treatment was excellent.
They will be supportive of you. They will listen to you.
It was a great experience knowing that I had people to help me.
I know I could count on them to do what I needed to get done.
Experience with Gruber was great.
They gave me my life back.
It was amazing.
He gets results.
We know how to win. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Gruber Law Offices had my best interests at heart.
All insurance companies, they want to know where are your cars housed. Right. They want to know how far are you driving to get to and from work every day. They want to know all these different things for weather patterns. Are you living in northern Wisconsin, or are you living down in Tornado Alley somewhere in Kentucky? These things make a difference as to how your insurance rates are formed. It needs you to be factual, and every single time somebody commits these different frauds, it all adds up, and everybody ends up paying the price for it down the road.
Erie Insurance, providing the protection you need and the service you expect, all at a great price.
Attention families, Milwaukee Public Museum wants to remind you that Kohl's Thank You Thursdays are in full swing. Receive free access to MPM's permanent exhibits on the first Thursday of every month. Milwaukee Public Museum would like to thank Kohl's for their support and making this program possible. Visit MPM's website today for more information and to book your reservations. mpm.edu/KTYT. That's mpm.edu/KTYT.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
There's a big difference between guilt and responsibility, after all. Guilt is something you feel for what you've done, and responsibility is something you take because of the kind of person that you are. They're not, strictly speaking, synonyms. And so when we inherit the legacy, not of 36-and-a-half-hour-old gumbo, but the legacy of institutionalized racial and ethnic discrimination, oppression, privilege, and subordination, when we inherit the legacy of sexism and patriarchal oppression, the legacy of economic injustice, the legacy of straight supremacy, all the different forms of supremacy and oppression and suppression that exist within our cultures all across the globe, when we inherit those, and on this continent we inherit that legacy of white supremacy, let us be clear, let us name it and call it what it is. We inherit a legacy of white supremacy. We have to be responsible for how we find it, not because we are to blame for having created it, but because we're the only ones left to do it, you see. We have to take responsibility for things as we find them, even if we don't create them. At least in theory, that's what we do with ecological destruction and environmental damage. You and I did not individually, I assume, go and belch toxic waste into the air, inject it into the soil, dump it into the waters on this planet, but somebody did, and we're now living with it. So we either clean it or we can sit around and say, well, I didn't do it, you know, I'm innocent, it really wasn't me, you can't blame me. But that doesn't really take care of the problem. If you ever become the CEO of a corporation, I don't know why you'd want to, but if you do, you won't be able to come in on the first day of work and say to your board of directors, you know, I can't wait to make use of all the assets you people were able to get before I came on board, all the assets you were able to develop, all the revenue you were able to generate. I can't wait to take advantage of that. But as for all those outstanding debts that you ran up, like your bills and the loans that you took out so that you could grow the company, no, I don't have any intention of paying those. That was the last CEO. You really should have gotten him or her to do that, you know. I'm new, I'm innocent, I just got here, you see. There's a difference between guilt and responsibility. It's very difficult, I think, for sometimes people in dominant social groups to really understand that and to recognize that we have to respond to the world as we find it and to deal with the injustices that we inherit, not because we're to blame for them, but because we're here and somebody has to deal with them. That's the first thing that trips us up, but it's not the only thing that trips us up in trying to have a conversation about something like racism. The second thing is that when we have the conversation about race, it's not just that people want to assume that that's somebody else's job or somebody else's responsibility. It's also that even when people are very well-meaning, and I think most people are.
I guess that's where he stops. That was Tim Wise. Let's talk to Miss Rose. You're on 101.7 The Truth.
Hi, dear. I just wanted to share this with you. Yesterday, I accidentally had a religious radio station on, and they were telling people, don't worry about the person in the messenger. It's the issue of life that you must deal with, so as not to let the government, listen, church with the government. So then it dawned on me, I thought about the beliefs, the core beliefs of many black Christians. And then I realized the acceptance of a negative behavior in order to concentrate on an issue is saying, vote this way, forget about the mannerisms or the person who's negative is not a role model for our people, deal with the issue of life. And then I saw again, is that the Christian thinking? What about the punishing of persons of black skin and dark skin and for no other reason that they're non-white? And this deals with then the black on black mentality, because the black religious have a thinking like a white religious. That would mean that's why they're against their own. I said, if this is Christianity, then something needs to happen. Then I said, well, what they can do is Christians, just if they're not, if this is not the Christian belief of all Christianity, then they should get involved in changing the system so that the laws will be put in place, not to get rid of those in the past and the future that are discriminatory. And this is for the people are trying to destroy blacks and all others. This is where our problem is that the faith and religious and the combination, which are very strong in the black ideology. And that's one of the things that bothered me, is we've got to let people know it's very important that who you're going to have as a role model for your children and the children to come. And one issue is not the thing in our country. We have many issues, but if you concentrate on just one because of life, and it's only not really about life, because if you really cared about life, you care about people after they were born as well as being born. That's what I just wanted to share the thought process because of that statement on the Christian religious people, preacher speaking to his people. That bothered me. That's all.
Thank you.
Oh, I just want to share something with you. My radio periodically goes off. The station goes off, and I haven't had time to really call in and find out what's happening until I heard this guy say they had us. Good, it's not only me.
So wait a minute. So you can't hear us on the radio?
No, I can.
But before you couldn't. I know we went off. Somebody said we went off, and I told them they was crazy because he was the only person that complained about it. But now I start to see we had a problem with the broadcast. Ricky!
But this isn't the first time, though.
We're going to fix it. I got to fix it.
I just want to say it's not the first time.
All right, I'm going to fix it right now. I got to go climb up on the tower, so I'll be right back.
No. Don't electrocute yourself. We need you. Unless you're going to give us all electricity for free. Sorry about that. Bye.
What in the hell? You know what? Okay, so the radio didn't work. Oh, they trying to silence her brother. That's what they're trying to do. Okay. Thank you, Ricky. Ricky said that the engineers were doing some stuff. Is it fixed? Somebody go put on the radio. I'm over here talking to myself. Well, no, I'm not. I'm talking to the YouTube people. A lot of people listen on the internet. Why don't y'all just listen online? Listen on the app. The app sometimes depends on like your phone, because some of y'all got to like clear your cache, and I don't want to have to talk people into talk people through clearing their caches on their phones because I don't know how to do it my damn self. Or go to 1017thetruth.com. You can listen a whole bunch of different ways. Or a lot of folks download the podcast because I'm on from 9 until 12. Some of y'all are not available to listen between 9 and 12. Some of y'all listen at nighttime, maybe over your dinner table. Maybe some of y'all listen before you go to bed. Cozy up with Sherwin. Go under the covers, push play, and have an intimate moment while you listen to my soothing, sweet radio voice. I titled this show Bad Daddies. I want to explain an hour and a half after the show starts why I titled the show Bad Daddies. So stay tuned. It'll all make sense to you. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 FM. We are just shy of a month until the 2024 presidential election, and the choice should be very, very simple. But for some reason, y'all want to make it hard. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
How much I weigh is nobody's business, but Eric Hovde wants to make it his.
Republican candidate for United States Senate Eric Hovde says that overweight people should have to pay more for their health insurance.
Eric Hovde want us to pay more because we weigh more? How insulting is that?
Listen to Eric Hovde.
There should be consequences to those personal choices. Fine, you want to do that? Your health care is going to cost more.
Hovde would increase health care costs for 1 out of every 3 people in Wisconsin.
Eric Hovde is totally wrong. Who do he think he is?
Senator Tammy Baldwin has a different view. She's working to lower health care costs for Wisconsinites. Tammy Baldwin wrote the law that lets young people stay on their parents' health insurance until they're 26. And Tammy took on the big pharmaceutical companies to cap the cost of insulin and inhalers. Tammy Baldwin is the one who's working for us.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Tammy Baldwin for Senate.
What distinguishes Old National Bank from other lenders in helping people buy their first home and furthering their small businesses?
One thing that really makes us stand out is our grants. We have 2 really big grants right now specifically for first-time home buyers buying in Milwaukee County. The first one is for $15,000. They have to be buying within Milwaukee County and reach certain income limits. And then the second one is for $20,000, and that is through the Federal Home Loan Bank of Indiana. We're headquartered in Indiana, as you know, Denise. So that is a second grant, and that is really the highest, most robust grant program throughout the entire southeastern Wisconsin area. So it's it's up to $35,000 essentially that a person could be receiving for their first home. If you are in a position that you're looking to buy your first home throughout Milwaukee County, please give me a call. Please contact me. I'm more than happy to help everybody that I can.
And what's your number, Anna?
Sure.
How can they reach you?
414-978-0283.
Sometimes it takes a breakdown to have a breakthrough. And at Vin Baker Recovery, they understand the power of having real support while you're on that journey to recovery. This is why at Vin Baker Recovery, they customize treatment plans specific for your needs. Vin Baker Recovery provides our community and anyone looking for help with access to mental health care and recovery support, helping you treat addiction. So whether opioid abuse, alcohol, or other controlled substances, Vin Baker Recovery helps you get back to the lifestyle that you know will be the best option for your future. Vin Baker Recovery offers licensed counseling and therapy services to curb the mental health problems that have been impacting our communities for far too long. They provide services like medication-assisted treatment, outpatient care, and hub and spoke services with peer support. So what are you waiting for? Vin Baker Recovery accepts walk-ins and appointments. It's just that easy. Just visit VinBakerRecovery.com. That's VinBakerRecovery.com. They're here to help you win the day.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
I went to St. Louis, Missouri the other day. They had Black Panthers from all over the country. No one knew about it at all. They had machine guns, recoilless rifles, grease guns, Lugers, 25 of them, all armed. And the chief of police met me at the airport when I arrived, and they were there, right there at the steps. He said, you were violating the law. Yeah, we're violating the law. He said, we're tired of our white and black leaders, Jackie and Martin and Bobby, being killed. We're going to protect this man while he's here. And they didn't arrest one of them. Because they said if you arrest one, then someone's going to die, because we are ready to kill. Black power means black dignity. Just as surely as you're proud to be white, we're proud to be black. Black is beautiful, baby. It's pretty. I always say to my brothers, I say, baby, don't worry about the white chicks. We got everything from chalk to charcoal in our own race. You see? Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Black power means dignity. It means we're going to walk side by side with you, or through you. We're going to be with dignity and integrity. We don't want any more than you have, and we're not going to accept any less than you have. That's black power.
That was Adam Clayton Powell. He was a titan of civil rights for a full century, 100 years. 10 consecutive decades, black people, African Americans, those of us descended from slaves, lived in a kind of political and social purgatory in this country. From the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, January 1, 1863, and then you have Juneteenth Day, which is June 19th, 1865, until meaningful civil rights legislation was signed into law. And there was civil rights legislation in the 40s. The military was desegregated by Lyndon Johnson. Dwight Eisenhower signed some civil rights legislation. But the things that have created the ability for black people to have some semblance of freedom and opportunity in this country, signed between 1964 and 1968, the last of which and the most meaningful was the Fair Housing Act, which created HUD. That is the reason why federal departments are created. Congress identifies a problem. Congress passes a bill. Congress then allocates funding to that department. The president signs that funding bill into law. The president gets a new cabinet. In America, we had a problem with housing segregation going back into the 1930s when the federal government agreed that it would ensure loans given to white people. Lo and behold, black people couldn't get loans to buy houses, or if we could, it wasn't necessarily protected by law. They could pick and choose what houses we got, where they showed us houses, et cetera, et cetera. So we realized there was a problem with housing segregation. They passed a bill, said we have to have a federal department and a federal law that combats housing discrimination, and HUD was born. That's how federal departments come to be. There was an issue that existed. Congress passes a bill. There's funding attached to it. Then we create a new federal department. Remember when Twin Towers went down, they got hit by some planes and some other stuff fell too, and the Pentagon got hit by, they say it was a missile, but it was, well, they say it was a plane, but it was really a missile, whatever. So then we had to create the Department of Homeland Security. Congress realized there was a problem with international terrorism, so they gave George Bush a whole bunch of money, and now you have to take off your damn shoes when you get on an airplane. It's so stupid. I'll never put a bomb in my shoes. It's not where I'm going to put a bomb. Remember the underwear bomber? Remember him? It was a guy some years ago that he wanted to blow up an American plane. This was after September 11th. He had snuck a bomb in his underwear. And then the bomb didn't go off. You know what happened? He ended up burning his nuts up. I'm not kidding you. There was an underwear bomber. You ain't got to believe me. Look it up. I know he regretted that. So we identify a problem. Congress passes a law. There's funding attached to it. And then they give the president a new cabinet, right? So for this 100 years in which we had to live in this purgatory, so between quote-unquote freedom and real federal protections for our right to vote, our right to live wherever we wanted to live, our right to happiness and the pursuit of happiness, we were just kind of like in limbo. We always had to fight. Can we agree that a lot of the African-American condition to get any kind of opportunity has involved fighting? We got to fight. We got to march. What were we fighting? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Who and what were we fighting? Why do we have to fight to be recognized as American citizens when we were always American citizens? We're one of the only groups of people in this country whose citizenship was never questioned. Our humanity, of course, was questioned, but our citizenship never. Who are we fighting? I want everyone to ask yourself this question, if you haven't asked yourself this question, every single day. We had to fight a system. We had to fight ignorance. We had to fight people that just believe that African Americans and black people and those descended from slaves are inherently inferior. Our fight was somebody else's ignorance of us, and we're the ones that had to fight. It seems like such a waste of time when you think about it. Why should anyone have to fight to be recognized as a person that should be able to get a job and go to school and send their kids to school and buy a house and pay their mortgage? We had to fight for these very, very basic things. Why? Because they believed that we were inherently inferior for 100 years. And I would argue the fighting is still going on right now. Now they've just changed the narrative a little bit because they can't just say black people are bad. They got to say Haitians are bad. Now they can't just say immigrants are bad. They got to say they're crossing the border illegally and they need to build a wall. It's the same thing. But we had to fight unnecessarily. It's such a waste of time. And the number of people that had to die, when I say it's a waste of time, the progress was not a waste of time, but the fact that we had to fight their attitude about us, that is why we had to fight constantly, because there was a system, a structural, an institutional system that was built on the fact that they erroneously believed that we were inferior. So we had to fight. We had to change their minds. We had to organize. We had to vote. We had to go to jail. We had to die. A bunch of people got assassinated, all because of their ignorance of us. Isn't that just infuriating that we had to fight a system that believed we were inferior when we are not? I'm going to give you another example of that. Kind of a contrasting view, because I want to make this point perfectly clear. When there is a system of structure and institution that believes a group of people are inferior, you make those who are oppressed have to fight the system that is ignorant. It's counterintuitive. We got to fight the dumb ones. You got to stick to it. You can't stop. You got to have a 366-day bus boycott. 366 days we had to stay off the bus so we could sit wherever we wanted. It seems like the effort that we put in, but the gains were so small. Now, ultimately, what did it do? It desegregated public transportation all throughout the Jim Crow South. But 366 days of a bus boycott to be able to sit like 4 seats up. And here's what's crazy. Nowadays, when black people get on the bus, we sit in the back. But I guess that's our choice, to sit in the back. Before, we didn't have a choice. There's another system that believes that a group of people are inherently, and I would argue, this is an ignorant point of view, but they believe that another group of people are inferior. I'm not talking about migrants. I'm not talking about Haitians. I'm not talking about people who are in this country legally because we need their labor that might be of a different race or ethnicity or religion. I'm talking about men. Why do men have to fight to see, get placement, or custody of their children? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Do you realistically believe in this American society right now that men are just ill-equipped to be parents and that women are naturally more equipped to be parents? Why should a man have to fight? Think about this now. Why do black people have to fight to get basic rights that are guaranteed by everybody? Why do men have to fight? And if a man doesn't fight, then he is considered, well, he's inferior. He must not want to see his children. Why do men have to fight? And what are we fighting? We're fighting the ignorance of a system, an institutional and structural system that thinks that men are just bad parents. At the same time, we know the impact that fathers have in their children's lives. Let me give you an example of that. If fathers were in these children's lives, do you honestly, realistically think that the city of Milwaukee's youth culture would look like this? That's not a rhetorical question. I need an answer out of you because you know what the answer is. We know the impact that fathers have, right? We know it. But then for some reason, they got to fight to see their kids. They got to get a lawyer. They're going to take time off of work. They may have to spend thousands of dollars because there is a system that ignorantly and erroneously believes that fathers are automatically ill-equipped to be parents. I'm going to take a break, come back, and I got some data on that fact. There's no way. You know what it usually is? And I just got into a little bit, I wouldn't call it an argument, but I posted this article that I'm going to be reading from in the Hughes Views Facebook group, and the Hughes Views Facebook group is a Facebook group that corresponds to this show. Men sometimes reject the women that they have children with. Men don't reject their children. It's very rare that a man rejects his children. What happens is the man rejects the woman, but he should be able to do that. Women reject us all of the time. And it's their right to do that. I would never take the right away from a woman to reject a man she didn't want, she didn't love, she didn't want to be with. But at that same time, when she rejects that man, she cannot reject the fact that he is the father of those children. Men, you can realize this woman is no good for you. It doesn't work out. She's not your person. It's just you're better off. You're better off. The children are better off if you're not together. Well, some women take that so personally, like, now you can't see your kids. You want to see your kids? You have to fight me. That's insane to me. And I have to compare how we as black people had to fight a system that based itself off of our perceived inferiority, that men are perceived as inferior fathers or parents. So we as men have to fight to see our children like we as black people had to fight the ignorance of white bigots in order to have a decent life in this country. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to let you think about it. And we're going to come back and have the conversation. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be back shortly.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's Telly Hughes from Truth Be Told with Denise Thomas and Telly Hughes, and I have to let you know that the best morning show in the country is streaming live on YouTube every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Yes, DT and I are now waking you up in the a.m. live every weekday on YouTube. So go to YouTube right now to subscribe to 101.7 The Truth so you can watch Denise and I get your morning started off right. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With inflation rising at record levels and incomes not keeping pace, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596 or visit www.kwwf.org. That's 800-506-5596 or visit www.kwwf.org.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
101.7 The Truth is the proud home of Marquette Hilltoppers football. Tune in Friday night as the Hilltoppers look to extend their winning streak to 6 in a row as they host the Brookfield Central Lancers. The football action kicks off at 7 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth. Marquette University High School football is presented by Gruber Law Offices and sponsored by Capital Insurance Agency, Magic Productions, Annex Wealth Management, C.G. Schmidt, Leff's Lucky Town, Boyle Frederickson Intellectual Property Law, and Marquette University High School.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
They treated me like family.
They're actually people that you can depend on.
They made me feel seen. They really treated me like I was a part of their family, a part of their team.
They ask how you're doing, how you're feeling.
They're just so welcoming and so sweet and kind.
It's like family, caring about another member of the family.
If you've been injured, it costs you nothing to see if Gruber Law Offices can help.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Custody by Change conducted a first of its kind study and found that parenting time varies dramatically as you cross state lines. Nationwide, a father is likely to receive about 35% of child custody time. Wisconsin is 50%, Minnesota 50%. Iowa fathers only get custody 28% of the time. Kansas 26% of the time. Nebraska 32% of the time. Wyoming. It is a fallacy, ladies and gentlemen, because parenting is learned. Human beings have no instincts. We're not born with any complex set of behaviors, meaning a father is just as qualified to parent as a mother is. Now, some women are going to say, no. So do you want us to think in this world where everything is fair and everything is supposed to be equal, that women are just cut out to be mothers? No, they're not. That's sexist to think that. And it's also derogatory to fathers. Parenting is a learned behavior. The people that are the best parents probably had good parenting role models in their life and in their developmental environments. If the man rejects the woman, women will say, he's rejecting his children. Now he has to fight to see them. And the courts oftentimes, as a part of the institution and the structure, because I think it's sexist against women to assume that women are just better parents. Y'all know some horrible mamas, right? Some of y'all had horrible mamas. Let's talk to, well, first I got to answer this person's call. Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Can you hang on a second?
101. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, hang on. Hold on. I got to talk to Al first. Al, you're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing good. First thing I want to say, you do have some good fathers that is out there doing right, but I will say this. This all could have been taken care of by putting on a condom, to be honest. Number two, disrespecting that mother, disrespecting the mother in front of the child is not helping. Calling her all kind of B's and MFers and all that, that is not helping. Next, these kids know when daddy do not want to be involved. You know, so these kids are far from stupid.
Yeah, but Al, do they know that, or do bitter, angry mothers that were ratchet that got left by actual good men just poison those children's minds about their fathers?
Well, when some kids are 11, 12, and 13, and they say, I know my father don't want to be bothered, and they want to sit here and say, your mama is this and that, and they only want to show up when it's convenient, these kids are far from stupid.
But you don't think that some moms, and I'm not saying all by any stretch, there's also some mothers that cuss out the fathers and talk bad about their father. In fact, when the fathers are no longer around, you know how easy it is to lie to those children and say the daddy is the problem. But here's one thing that we know, though, Al. Kids, when they get older and they become adults, they always realize who the bad parent was. So mothers that try and taint the image of the fathers, because sometimes those women are they're not wanted by the men anymore. And what the women will do to get revenge is be like, hey, kids, your daddy doesn't love you. But it's really the woman that he doesn't want to be with. Men should be able to reject the woman but still be with his children, just like women can reject the man and she still gets to keep the children. It's just not fair is what I'm saying.
Well, I understand that, but I have had kids come to me and say, my father, ever since my father started talking to that crack whore, he has not been around.
Yeah, but Al, that's your situation. I'm trying to apply this like nationwide. There's an understanding that men, when it comes to the courts, are just not equipped to parent, but we just automatically assume that, women are designed to be mothers. No, they're not. That's why so many women aren't having kids anymore, Al, because they don't want to be stuck with having placement and custody of the kids.
I understand it, but what I'm saying is some of these men out here will leave their kids to go make another family. Some of these men will stay gone and only come back once a year. I'm not saying there's not good fathers out here.
But Al, do you know that there's some kids that think that their grandparents is actually their mother? Because so many mamas want to go to the club and want to go out and party and live their best life, but still collect the child support check and buy hair and buy nails with it. So it can go both ways.
I understand that, but what I'm saying, men should not have to fight to see their kids, but some men, not all, some men need to do their part.
Fair enough.
Some of these men are not doing that part.
But we're not going to participate in the stereotype that men are just inherently bad because women control the narrative. And the courts are sexist and say, oh, you're going to get the child support and replacement. You know who's the most disgruntled people we've ever met, Al? I've ever met in my life? A woman who was deemed an unfit mother that has to pay the daddy child support. Those are the most angry and upset women I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I understand that, and I know a situation where the daddy is getting a check for taking care of the kid, and the kid is still with the mother, and he got 9 to 10 kids. I know a couple of them, and they ain't taking care of none of them. What I'm saying is, for the fathers, be in your kid's life. If you are doing drugs, if you are taking meth or cocaine, and you are booty bumping when you put it in a syringe and stick it up the back so it float up the canal like Noah's Ark, just stay out those kids' lives because you are doing more harm than you're doing good. I'm not saying they're not good fathers, but what I'm seeing right now in our community, of what I'm seeing, a lot of people are seeing, some of these fathers are the reason why these kids are so bad. We understand that
all the mothers are saints. You think that women aren't abusing drugs and abusing alcohol?
I'm not saying that.
And actually, the effect, and science meets this out, Al, there is a more negative effect on children from a bad mother than from an absent father. A bad mother can talk down to, beat, abuse, neglect, emotionally, sexually, and physically abuse these children every single day. And an absent father ain't doing none of that.
Well, I understand that, but it's even worse when the father does it in front of the son or daughter and jump on it and walk out that kid life and come back when the kid is over 18.
I think you're talking about abusive relationships where people never should have had kids. I totally agree with that, but let's not automatically assume that all fathers are bad. They're not. All mothers ain't good.
We're not saying that, but what I'm saying is, and for the kids to be right, the parents, the fathers need to be in the kid's life, and they should not be jumping on the mother. They should not be disrespected.
We agree on that. Can we agree that disgruntled women should not be taking out the fact that she got left, taking it out on the man? He may not want to be with her because she's not going anywhere in life, or maybe because she's a liar or a cheater or a thief. He should be able to leave her but still be involved in his children's life, is all I'm saying. We're not going to say that men are bad. We're not going to look at the excuse or the reasons that you have seen in your community and apply that to men that live all over the country. Because there's some men who are equipped to be fathers and some women that are not equipped to be mothers. Okay. I got to go, though. I got to take a break because I'm over my time. Why am I arguing with a man about defending men? The point I'm trying to make is fathers have to fight a system based on the ignorance that men are not equipped to be dads. Just like black people had to fight a system of ignorance that believed that we as black people were inherently not inferior. That's the word I'm trying to say. Oh, got me all frazzled. All right. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Truth Nation, the election is less than a month away, and we are excited about another episode of The Truth on Politics on Tuesday, October 15th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This show engages in a thoughtful debate on the local and national elections and the policies which impact our black communities the most. Do not miss The Truth on Politics on Tuesday, October 15th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. with Dr. Ken Harris, Tori Lowe, Ben Jamin, Damian Elzie, and Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth and streaming live on YouTube.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic void. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week, Marcus and Chris are live from the Bucks Foundation golf outing. Find Here District now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
Research shows that high-quality teachers have the greatest impact on student success during the school day. By shaping their students, they are shaping the future. Yet while actors have Oscars, musicians have Grammys, and athletes have gold medals, exemplary educators who prepare every profession are just not recognized enough. The Milken Educator Awards set out to change that by surprising outstanding educators across the nation with $25,000 prizes and providing a platform to celebrate, elevate, and activate the profession.
Erica Stevens!
The awards were created by Lowell Milken of the national nonprofit Milken Family Foundation. The journey to surprising the 3,000th Milken Educator is in full swing. Who will be next?
Honey, they chose me.
Celebrate teachers, value teachers, thank teachers.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I pushed through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. So I'm doing a bit of a comparison here. Black people had to fight and are still fighting to be recognized as human beings. We are fighting the ignorance of bigotry and racism. Can we agree on that? We're still fighting it because they believe that we are inherently inferior. And there are structural and institutional systems that still maintain and replicate racism from one year to the next, one generation to the next, right? We can agree on that. Why do black people have to fight? Why do we have to fight? Our history is about fighting. All the progress that we got, we had to earn it. We had to fight a system that believed erroneously and ignorantly that we were inherently inferior. Why do fathers have to fight to see their children? And stop saying that all dads are bad, they're not. And stop thinking that all women are good mothers. When you do that, you got to understand that that's sexist, ladies and gentlemen. That's misogynist. If you just assume because a woman has a birth canal, ovaries, and a uterus, that makes her a good mother. Parenting is learned. And here's what's crazy. Some of y'all know bad mothers. You know them, but we make up excuses for them. We got to stop doing that. That is an oppressive behavior. It oppresses women because we just assume. And I think some women realize that there's a stereotype that they're just assumed to be good mothers. And that's why a lot of women are not having children. America's population is in decline. I don't know if y'all know this because women are simply refusing to have kids. There was a study done by the Pew Research Center probably in the last couple of years that men, like almost 60% of men still want to have kids. But like 40% of women want to have kids. Women do not want to have children. And they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't be forced to. There also shouldn't be a stereotype that a woman is naturally a mother. That oppresses a woman. If you ask me, a woman can be president. A woman doesn't have to be a mother. A woman can be childless like Kamala Harris and still be every bit a woman. It is an oppressive stereotype, and that's why some women know that they wouldn't be good mothers. And they're just opting not to have kids because they don't want to fall into the stereotype. Let's talk to... I didn't get your name when I put you on hold, sir, but you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Gerald.
Hi, Gerald.
Yeah. I'm one of those fathers who went to court and had a bout with Judge White.
Oh, that was a tough one. God bless you, buddy. I know that wasn't easy.
It was a bunch of demagoguery. The mother... You've hit a lot of nails on the head with some of these mothers who want to be at the Super Bowl, the All-Star game, and they don't really care about what's happening with their children. And the grandmother is actually raising the child. So I happened to meet this lady in that situation. Grandmother was raising a child. She wanted to do all of these kinds of things, but she ran up on the wrong man who really was raised by a mother and a father that you take care of your responsibility. So I went to court, and my court case was so huge. It's one of the largest court cases in the state of Wisconsin. I spent thousands of dollars to have a relationship with my sons, and it was unfortunate for me that I had to do that. However, I came back here from California to raise my children because they didn't want to live in California. So I quit my job there, came back here to be a father to my children. Judge White indicated that, in fact, I was also a father that was getting paid child support from the mother because she didn't want the kid. And Judge White kind of went with the mother and said, okay, the mother went, well, he's got anger management. Really? Went to a doctor 3 times to get that doctor to say, take medicine. I said, absolutely not. So White was going to force me to give my son the medicine. I said, you might as well put me in jail right now. That's not going to happen. And I said, knowing who I am and what I know, we're going to have a problem because I'm not going to let this lie. And I also said, do you want to take a black man out of a young black man growing up out of his household? Because I can be a check daddy and move back to California and send a check. It's not what I want to do, but this is what you're trying to force me to do. So that kind of demagoguery continues to go on, and God forbid, religion is a whole nother thing. My other son is his mother was a Jehovah's Witness. I had to go to court for it to have the boy to even have a birthday party. It was ridiculous. So you have to look at who you're getting involved with, 1, their religion, 2, their upbringing, 3, and know the person that you're dealing with. You know, women are not just nurturers, like all of them aren't. And as you indicated, a lot of them don't want to have children right now. That's a new thing. They want to party, enjoy their lives, or some just don't want to have children. They don't want to go through that. So I say to any parent out there, any father, young brothers that are trying to see your children, because the women will use those kids as a pawn. They will use them. They will get you in a domestic, all of that kind of demagoguery. Don't go for it. Get yourself in court, get joint custody, and the big thing is joint placement.
That's right.
When you get joint placement, you don't have to pay child support because whatever you do with your child at your house, that's what you do. Whatever she does, that's what she does. And so joint placement is very important, young man, if you're out there and you really want to be a part of your child's life, and you won't have to deal with the demagoguery of that mother using that child as a pawn, because when you got him, you got him. And if she don't give him to you, then you can take her and get her in contempt of court, and she will go to jail. So this is from an OG that's been through it. And for some of you young guys out there that want to do it, hey, this is the way to do it. And the other thing with Al, I don't know what neighborhood Al lives in with all of that stuff that he's talking about going on. I haven't experienced that, so it may be out there, but the way to do it is go to court. Don't be afraid. Get your joint custody and your joint placement. And also make sure that the kid is yours.
Oh, yeah.
Number one, I mean, I don't mind you taking care of someone that you want to take care of, but you want to make sure that the child is yours. When you get adjudicated as a father, there's a blood test that goes on, and it's your child. And that's your responsibility as men to raise our young black men.
Jill, how much do you think you spent total? I'm talking about time, money, lawyers, all of that. How long did the whole process take from start to finish? How many years?
Oh, man, it was 4 or 5 years on one, and these guys were like 9. My youngest son, by the time he had his first birthday, he was 10 years old.
Okay. How much money do you think you spent on lawyers?
Probably $100,000.
Now, that's the problem. It is financially prohibitive because most men, especially if you're paying child support, you can't afford it. Why should, and I'm glad, thank you for calling, Gerald. We appreciate you sharing your story. Think about that for a second. Why should a man who wants to be an active father have to spend $100,000 and spend a decade of his life to see his children? When someone does not have any power, children are power. And they're used as that. I know some of y'all want to think that all moms are angels. I have firsthand experience of how a woman will disregard her kids completely to even spend time with a man. I'll never forget this situation. I met this woman in 2005. Met her at Eve, the nightclub on Milwaukee Street. Wonderful woman. She's great. A very nice lady. Come to find out she lives at the time. Well, she's moved away. She's married now. Actually, no, she's not married, but she had another baby. She was recently divorced when I met her. And she lived really close to me, like really, really close. And she and I just hit it off. We had real great chemistry. And we hung out every single day when I got done with work. She got done right about the same time. We would have dinner every single night. We'd go to happy hour every single night. We would go to movies. I'm talking every single day of the week, yo. We would hang out. Every day. Do you know I didn't know that she had kids for a month? For a whole month. She never told me. I assumed she didn't have any children. Or when I asked her, the night I met her, she said no. She lied. She had 2 boys, both under the age of 5. She would leave her children with whoever would take them so she could hang out with me. When I found that out, you know how heartbroken I was? I was heartbroken and I was disgusted. She did not care about her children. But here's the thing. She wouldn't leave her children with their father, her ex-husband. She'd leave them with her sister. She had 2 brothers. She'd leave them with her 2 brothers. Sometimes her sons would go to the mama's house, her mama's house. The other son would go to her brother's house. Horrible. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So we can't sit here and say that all women are wonderful mothers. They're not. All fathers are not bad. Let's talk to Eddie. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you, Eddie?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you, Sherwin?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind, Eddie?
Most everything that people are saying this morning, with the exception of one person, I'm not going to mention the name, but the thing is that the society, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if it comes from, can you blame it on slavery or whatever, but black men have always tried a lot to try to take care of their kids, but for some reason, society always paint a dark cloud over them. I mean, even back in slavery, I believe, when the man he couldn't even have a wife or kids, and they sell the kids off. They created this division. But what I really hate is that women, I don't want to use the word hate might be too strong, but women that have several, 5, 6, 10 kids, and they all got different daddies. Either they doing it for, I guess at one time it was profitable, getting assistance and stuff. They changed that up. But the hard thing is about it, when a man comes into the house and try to be responsible, it's still that division, because either the kid's going to say it or either the mother's going to say it. When it comes to discipline and whatever, those my kids, they ain't your kids. Now, the man can come in the house, pay the rent, buy the food, do this, that, and other. But when the kid's out of line, he can't say anything to him. I believe that is wrong. I believe it's wrong when a man comes in a household like that or have a situation where the woman might have his kid, but have other kids by other men, and create a division. If you understand what I'm saying,
I do.
I think that's wrong. And then, for some reason, it turns me off. As soon as I hear a woman holler about a man, I run because she damaged material. Father's Day, we don't get any recognition. You go to church, you can throw a brick in it and miss everybody. Mother's Day, the church is full. Man, especially to me, I don't know, because I'm a black man, it just seems like it's harder on a black man when it comes to responsibilities and things of that nature because of the stereotype. And women use that to their advantage, to me, what is the answer to it? If it doesn't start at home with the education and this, that, and other, then it's never going to change, like a lot of other problems in our community won't change. So I agree with what you're saying and what the last caller said. It's just hard on the man. For some reason, they think we're lazy, not responsible. There is some responsible men in our society, but I think some women, not all, women look at men as a meal ticket rather than building a foundation or building a home and or whatever. And if it doesn't go that way, then they want to move on to the next person and say the man. Even Al was saying that. I don't understand. He's a man. He should know what it's like about being a man in our community. So everybody's hitting a lot of good points this morning.
Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate your call.
Yep.
All right, then, Eddie. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention National Health Statistic Report, black fathers at 70% who live with their children were more likely to have bathed, dressed, changed, or helped their child with the toilet every day compared with their white counterparts at only 60%, Hispanic at 45%. Black fathers at 78% were also more likely to eat meals with their children every day compared to white fathers at 74%, Hispanic fathers at 64%, and a higher percentage of black fathers at 27% took their children to and from activities every day compared with their white counterparts at only 20%. Black fathers at 41% in the home were also more likely to help their children with homework every day compared with Hispanic men at 29% and white fathers at 28%. Don't argue with me. Argue with the statistics. Let me also say this. This is anecdotal. When fathers are not a part of black children's lives, our community falls apart. You cannot argue with that. You know how much money we are spending to prevent and to stop youth violence? The reckless driving, we've spent tens of millions of dollars of your money to put up bump outs, narrow traffic lanes. These fatherless children. If you talk to these kids, they'll just tell you they miss their dads. I'm not going to believe that all dads are bad. I'm not going to believe that all mothers are good. If anything, it was an extension of white supremacy that believed erroneously that all black people were inferior, just like we believe all dads are inferior. And here's the thing. We know that that's not the case. And when black fathers are missing from the home, let me be abundantly clear, if the statistics didn't speak loud enough, our community falls apart. It literally folds in on itself. You can blame dads all you want. Maybe some of it is the system. Black men are much more likely to be incarcerated or whatever the case may be. But then there's sometimes these other situations like the relationship. I posted something on one of my Facebook pages. I got more Facebook pages than I need. But I asked a question, what is the one thing in a relationship that this is for men now. There's only one line for us. That once it's crossed, that's it. There's no rectifying it. There's no fixing it. If this happens, gentlemen, in your relationship, you have to leave. There's no counseling. There's no talking. There's no excuses. If she cheats, leave. Have the funeral for the relationship, mourn the loss of the relationship. You cannot go back. Now, what you'll find more often than not, when men cheat, women do go back. They do. We cannot, because that is a rejection of you that is an unforgivable one. You cannot go back to a cheating woman. under any circumstance. Don't blame yourself. Don't say, oh, I should have paid more attention to her. It had nothing to do with you. It is an inherent flaw in her. And the only women that are going to get mad are the women that have cheated and their men have come back. Or, even worse, the women that have cheated and their men left them. Somebody asked me last week if I'd ever been cheated on. Sure have. Never spoke to her another day in my life, and she just couldn't understand why. She did what she did. I'm not gonna hear her out. It was a mature way to end a relationship. That's not it. All right, let me take a break, come back, grab some more phone calls. The comparison I'm trying to make is that black people had to fight for 100 years to get basic respect and federal protections for our humanity and our ability to be American citizens pursuing life, liberty, and happiness. Why the fathers, we just talked to, I think, Gerald, who called a little while ago, had to spend 10 years of his life and $100,000 to be in his kids' lives. Why do men have to fight, black men in particular? And we know that when black men are absent, and stop saying that all black men are bad and terrible fathers. Y'all sound like white supremacists when you say that. I gave you the statistics from the Centers of Disease Control that black fathers are double-digit percentages more involved with their children than white men and with Hispanic men, but for some reason, we're the problem. Everybody trying to figure out, how do we make things better in America? How do we fix these conditions? Some of it ain't even got nothing to do with white people and white supremacy. We need to allow dads to be good dads. We also need to allow men to be able to reject bad women, but still be in our children's lives. They should not be mutually inclusive. There is no way that a man should have to be with a woman he doesn't want, he doesn't love, who's not the woman for him. To be with her, then that's the only way you have access to your kids. That's insane. You listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
This is Southside Serious.
Southside, this is 101.7 The Truth, and you are our Gruber 5K giveaway.
Oh, man, I can't believe it, man. You guys are so great, man. You're doing so much for the community. I really, really appreciate you guys.
What would you do with $5,000?
I got two boys. I got an 18-year-old. I got a 15-year-old, and, man, I'm going to give it to them.
Stay tuned into 101.7 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
So you may have heard of Project 2025, a plan crafted by Trump and his MAGA loyalists to give Trump virtually unchecked political power and take Black America backwards. Here's how. Project 2025 strips away our voting rights protections, and it eliminates the Department of Education. It would siphon public school funding to private schools, leaving our kids behind. Planning on going to college? Good luck paying for it. Project 2025 cuts funding for federal student loans. Trump's Project 2025 would also make states monitor women's pregnancies, and it bans abortion. Project 2025 would also gut Obamacare, ripping away health care from millions. Simply put, Trump's Project 2025 would be devastating to Black America. But we can stop it by voting for Kamala Harris for president, because we are not going back.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for president.
Attention families, Milwaukee Public Museum wants to remind you that Kohl's Thank You Thursdays are in full swing. Receive free access to MPM's permanent exhibits on the first Thursday of every month. Milwaukee Public Museum would like to thank Kohl's for their support and making this program possible. Visit MPM's website today for more information and to book your reservations. mpm.edu/KTYT. That's mpm.edu/KTYT.
101.7 The Truth is the proud home of Marquette Hilltoppers football. Tune in Friday night as the Hilltoppers look to extend their winning streak to 6 in a row as they host the Brookfield Central Lancers. The football action kicks off at 7 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth. Marquette University High School football is presented by Gruber Law Offices and sponsored by Capital Insurance Agency, Magic Productions, Annex Wealth Management, C.G. Schmidt, Leff's Lucky Town, Boyle Frederickson Intellectual Property Law, and Marquette University High School.
Milwaukee Health Services Incorporated is celebrating 35 years of serving all income and medically underserved populations of Milwaukee's metropolitan area. MHSI is a one-stop shop that provides medical, radiology, dental, pediatric, behavioral health, pharmacies with affordable medications, and more. Also, MHSI's new family medicine residency program, located at the Isaac Cobbs Heritage Health Center, has brought 28 family doctors to our area, which is significantly impacted by healthcare workforce shortages. Become a new patient today. To schedule an appointment, call 414-372-8080. Your health is their business.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
From CNN, often good fathers can offer lessons in playfulness, care, support, courage, and discipline. And the data shows that black dads are doing so on a regular basis. 70% of black fathers who live with their children were most likely to have bathed, dressed, changed, or helped their child with the toilet every day, compared with white fathers at only 60%, Hispanic fathers at 45%, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Those black fathers were also more likely to have eaten a meal with their children, data shows. These numbers were high, and not just for biological fathers living inside the home, said Dr. Erlanger Turner, a licensed psychologist and associate professor of psychology at Pepperdine University in Malibu, California. Quote, it also indicates that black fathers often step into the role of step-parents or maintain consistent involvement when living outside of the home, he added. So the dad don't even have to live there, and he's more involved than his other counterparts, Hispanic and white. This involvement is important for many reasons, one of which is that data shows the children with involved fathers are at lower risk for developing disruptive behavior and mental health disorders. Even when a biological father isn't present, the role can be filled by other men who care about the child, an important concept in African American culture, Noble said. Quote, you can have perhaps multiple fathers or father figures or grandparents who can play a very strong role that is as strong, if not stronger, than the father, he said. You really do have uncles and grandparents, coaches and community members and pastors that can step in and really provide those things like the guidance, the empathy, and the attunement and support. Let's talk to Lisa. You're on 1017 The Truth. At least I got two people on hold, and I got about 4 minutes till I got to take a break.
Good morning, Sherwin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Shoemakers. See, now you see why I talk about my father so much. Y'all, your father. Okay, now you see why I talk about my father so much. Thank you very much for bringing up the subject. But young ladies and women, you gotta, and men, you gotta know who you're picking and what you're picking. I know when you're young, you look at the beauty in that, like I did. But I'm fortunate enough that when I did pick them, I was happy at how we both grew. And, when I got pregnant, I told them, hey, if we're not together, this, blah, blah, this. We sat down and talked about these things, and we agreed upon these things. Unfortunately, it's sad that the father that was involved with a Jehovah's Witness, that he had to go through that, because if it was me, I'm like, okay, I understand. What you do at your dad's house, what you do at your dad's house, or what you do at my house, what you do at my house. We have that agreement. So a lot of the young ladies today, they don't want children because how they saw their mom struggle. What they saw, you remember, what's that, Medea's funeral? When the black side, what's his name? When she did that? Bye.
Oh, yeah, I know it's all about. Yeah, I know it's all about.
Right. So some young men, that's what you're dealing with. That's what you chose her, though. Young ladies, the same. If you get a guy that mess around and you want that committed husband or whatever, and you pick that guy and he's doing that, okay, that's what you chose. You know what? It's okay. Wipe it, dust it off your shoulder. Keep it moving. But you must sit down and communicate. It is some good father. He might be out there with all type of whatever, but what does that have to do with him being a father? She might be out there doing whatever, but what does that have to do with your relationship? If you say, hey, I met a guy and he want to take me out, can you watch the Bobo? Can I bring him over? Sure. He will not have no problem, so you already got an automatic babysitter. If he doesn't have that money like mine didn't, to pay that child support, which I would never put him on child support. No, we ain't doing all that. If you don't have that money, whatever, to go get his son haircut, just put him that money on the side. Say, hey, go get his haircut. I need you to be a father.
All right,
I mean,
Lisa.
there's no manual for us how to be parents.
That's right.
We got to figure it out.
Thank you, Lisa. We got to figure it out. All right. Appreciate it. That was the shortest call I ever had with Lisa. Oh, as expected. Oh, I love when these comments come up. Not Really a City Girl says, it's funny how a man's feelings and ego get so hurt because his woman cheated, but expects the woman to forgive him and get over her ego and feelings getting hurt. Come on. No, we don't expect that. But a man that leaves has self-respect. And that hurts women. He just shouldn't even engage with her. Don't argue about that. If she cheated on you, yeah, it's not meant to be. Glad I found out now instead of when I'm 90 years old and too old to leave. Got to have a standard for you. So got to have boundaries. If you leave, like that shows your manhood. I have never, and I know many men whose wives have cheated on them, girlfriends have cheated on them, and they patch up the relationship. They got kids, whatever the relationship is. There's like a lot of social pressure to stay involved in the relationship. Those men are miserable every day of their lives after that because she knows she can do anything. Talk to him any old kind of way, treat him any old kind of way. If she cheats, fellas, it's over for you. You lose your standard, you lose your status, you lose your standing as a man in that family, and that's why you have to leave. You don't want to leave. It's tough to leave. You're going to be fine. You have to leave because it will get worse. Let's talk to Miss Shack. You're on 101.7 The Truth. I only got about a minute, Miss Shack.
To say. Good morning, Professor. Good morning, good Common Brand, and good morning to all the good sacrifice people in Milwaukee.
Now you got 30 seconds.
I want to first say that Scripture says there will be enmity between man and woman. What that specifically means, I haven't studied yet. However, I will say this, that we've all been we've been deceived by the biggest lie in humanity called the American dream. These people set in motion the role that you are supposed to play, the role that I'm supposed to play, and who gives them the right to do that? They have misguided humanity by telling them that the man's supposed to do this and be that, and a woman's supposed to do this and be that. Let me tell you, there's a documentary on Netflix called Searching for Masculinity. These men are now questioning what right do I have to say what is my male masculine identity than to have someone else define that for me. This is a new day and age. Our new generation is going forth. We are going forth with the intelligence of knowing that this system has bamboozled us, and so now we're going into our own selves and we're educating ourselves, man. It's a great time. It's a great time because America is going through the wash, and we're cleaning out all that garbage we've been taught and trained, and we're going to get to the rinse, and we're going to see each other and the light that is in each other, the divine gift that is in each other, the divine creation that was created in each other.
Thank you, Linda, for the sermon.
All right, sir.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. What does this even mean? Golash 1927. Hi, Sherwin. I work with people on food share, and we have a division inside the office that will assist with parental rights and assist with questions. I ask, is your name on the BC? Nope. What's the BC? Black card? Black Curtis? What's BC mean? I don't know what that means. So everybody has their anecdotes. Everybody knows a bad father, but everybody also knows a bunch of bad moms too. And we know, I'm just dealing with what we know as fact. Go and interview these kids that are in jail. Well, they're adults in jail. Dads run around. We know that our community falls apart. We also know that black fathers, when they are allowed to be, like, that sounds funny even saying it, like, allowed to be in their children's lives after they spend how much money, spend how many years having to go to court for his kids. The other thing is, you never know. You don't know the person you're having kids with. You don't know. You don't know somebody until you've been around them for years. Sometimes you'll know somebody after 10 years, but you got to be around their family. You got to see their family dynamic. And their family dynamic is likely going to be replicated in them. The most difficult women to involve yourself with, fellas, is women that didn't have their dads around. Because the expectation they're going to have of you a lot of times are going to be unreasonable. Because they have not seen the limitations of a man, because a man hasn't been around. A man wasn't a part of her developmental environment. Her dad. She's going to think that men can do everything she's ever wanted, needed, and dreamed of because she didn't have a dad. So she assumes all the things that she lacked, the man she's involved with, the man she's dating or sleeping with, is supposed to do everything. And if you fall short just a little bit of her skewed understanding of what a man can do, then you are worthless to her and she'll dog you out. Yeah, it's just tough. She doesn't have the example of a father. All right, I'm going to take a break. Come back, talk to Kathy on the other side. The Truth was Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be back shortly.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 101.7 The Truth. Here is Telly Hughes with his truth.
I want to stress the importance of a positive mindset. Everything begins as a thought before it ever becomes an action. So it's extremely important to purposely place yourself in positive spaces to help shape and nurture those thoughts. I know you're probably thinking, okay, Telly, let's be realistic. Look, I get it. You may work with people with bad energy, or you may even be related to people who are negative by nature. In this journey called life, there will be many things that come your way that's out of your control. But what you can control is how you respond. Understand this. You have the right to either tap in or tap out of whatever energy that may come your way. And that's how you can control and protect your positive spaces. The mind is where it all starts, and if your thoughts are centered around positivity, you'll see how things begin to transform. You will see a noticeable difference between things happening for you versus things always happening to you. You begin to grow through situations as opposed to just going through tough situations. Make it a priority to surround yourself with positive people and create those positive spaces and begin to experience the fruits of what a positive mindset can produce. Trust me, it takes work to creating these spaces, and you have to be intentional about it. And I'm committed to putting in the work because I'm living proof that it's well worth the peace a positive mindset brings.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 101.7 The Truth. Listen to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Hurt by a truck? Call Gruberg Offices. One call, that's all.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The 2024 presidential election is about a month away, And to help you make an informed decision on our country's next leader, we will be broadcasting the U.S. vice presidential debate live tomorrow night starting at 8 o'clock. Again, that's the U.S. vice presidential debate between VP candidates Tim Walz and J.D. Vance tomorrow night at 8 p.m. right here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, Milwaukee Black Talk. All right. I guess you could also watch it on TV. Unless y'all want to sit in the car and listen to it on the radio. Let me get back to my study here. Rare insight into national custody statistics. Custody schedules are detailed and complex, which makes them hard to compare, said Ben Coltrane of Custody by Change, co-founder and president of the organization. However, it's easy to see the state-by-state differences once you have a percentage for every state. We conducted this study to be able to easily highlight the differences. Politics and parenting time. The study also shows that red states have been the least eager to move toward equal custody time for both parents. 22% of red states currently have equal custody as standard, compared to 40% of blue states and 59% of purple states. On average, a typical divorced dad living in a red state will see his child 400 fewer hours each year than a blue state dad, and 700 fewer hours than a purple state dad. Divorced dads in purple states receive an average of 40.2% of custody time as standard, or about 3,500 hours. Blue state dads receive about 3,200 hours, or 36.6%, while red state dads get only about 2,800 hours in a typical parenting arrangement, or 32.1%. And that would make sense to me because red states are probably much more traditional and just automatically assume by default that moms are just supposed to be the parents. Do y'all understand how that is inherently not fair and how it's built into the system that we just assume that moms should get placement and custody of the kids? Do you guys know that sometimes women don't want their kids? Do you guys know that? And it manifests itself in abuse and neglect. And you're wondering why we got a mental health crisis with the kids. We can't possibly believe that all women even like kids. My homegirl almost said her name. Admitted to me she don't like kids at all. She's like, I barely like my kid. Now, her son is probably 19 now. But she was like, no, I don't like kids. She got married. The man she married wanted a child. She didn't really want a child. Gave him a baby anyway. And then what's crazy is then her son turned out to be gay. Which is just random, but... She told me, she's like, yeah, I don't like kids at all. Barely like mine. In recent years, many states have moved to give divorced fathers more time with their children. Last year alone, 25 state legislatures considered laws to encourage shared parenting after divorce or make it a default, as reported by the Washington Post. There was a law in 2000. Tamara Grigsby was still alive, so this must have been... Oh, boy. 2011, 2012? There's a bipartisan bill in the Wisconsin State Legislature that automatically, when a relationship dissolves, whether it was baby mama, baby daddy situation, or married couple that divorces, separates, whatever, automatically, until there was either mediation or an adjudication, or a guardian ad litem appointed, automatically, when a relationship dissolves, it's going to be a state law now and had bipartisan support in the Wisconsin State Legislature. Placement in custody immediately was going to be 50-50, automatically, until the courts decided otherwise. Okay? That bill failed. Let me tell you why that bill failed. Led by African-American women in general in the legislature, voted against that bill. The bill was the most fair parenting bill anybody had ever seen. It was how it's supposed to be until there is fact-finding and a court date, because that decision should not be made by anybody, but really should be made by the two individuals who are parents. But until a court date, because sometimes court dates might be several months out, child support wouldn't start. Placement in custody was 50-50, and it was up to the parents to figure out their arrangement without any involvement of the courts until the court date. The women in the legislature opposed it, especially the African-American women in the legislature opposed it because they wanted child support to start running right away. And that bill was actually anti-child, and it failed, and it never got brought up again. Here, what's this one here? I got a whole bunch of stuff on dads. What's this one? Who's on the phone? Oh, Kathy. Oh, I got to talk to Kathy. Kathy, I ain't forget about you. Let's talk to Kathy. Kathy, you're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Good, bless you. Thank you. I was on a break myself. Let's make it real clear, Sherwin. You're 100% right. We don't need people calling and talking about all this other stuff or anything. The court makes it extremely difficult in Wisconsin for a black male, even some white men, to get visitation, okay? When you pay child support, it has nothing to do with visitation and custody, okay? And you're right. These women, they turn around here, they want to deny this and that. Most of them don't know each other that well, or once you get to know a person, maybe it's not what you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for a relationship to begin with. Grandmas who's listening to this, stop blocking these kids from visiting. If your daughter say, oh, I'm not going to have them visit, don't go by what your daughter say. You need to support that man in visiting that child, because these lonely grandmas out here, if this doesn't apply to you, keep moving. These lonely grandmas out here want somebody to be with them. So what they do is that they help the girl from not having a man visit the children. That is not fair. And that man said he spent a lot of money. He had made good money to spend that money, because they'll take you through court all day. And when you get visiting, say you want every other weekend or every other holiday, because Christmas Eve and Christmas and stuff, people start coming to the courts in November. You're not going to get a court date for the holiday to see your kids. Millions of men want to see their kids. I do not stick up for women when it comes to custody and visitation. That child has another blood relative that they need to visit and see. You need to get a life and go somewhere on the weekend or every other weekend or every day. Take your butt somewhere, volunteer somewhere, or get an education, and let that child see that other family. You tell them kids all type of stuff. I see the women. I know them personally from working in the courts. They remember big liars. I don't care. Nobody said they can call me better what I say. These grandmas love to have them kids with them because they have a lonely life they self, okay? I talk about a lonely life. They can't volunteer. They can't help out nowhere. They don't want to do this. They want to have the kid with them, and then women go out there and get them disability checks about something wrong with my child. Have some. I'm not trying to talk about nobody. If a shoe don't fit, you don't have to call back. They're very uneducated. Most of them been on I'm not trying to be funny, on government assistance all their life. You don't want the kids to get disability checks. I know this from being a landlord, from working in courts, just talking to people. And these men, you got a lot of good men out here, you got a lot of bad men out here. But at the end of the day, if things don't work out right, he got somebody else, he was cheating, you was cheating. You didn't know each other well. And a lot of people, relationships at 20 or 30 years old, these women and men, a lot of them are very immature to begin with. I'm talking immature on the age level of a 20 or 30-year-old man, a brain going on 14 years old, okay? They got problems themselves. So you can't tell people to sit down and communicate. But you need to let that child see their daddy and cut it out and have a life. When the child goes to her, you got something to do. Who don't mind a break once in a while if you got kids? Let them go by the grandma's house, the auntie house. Auntie Kathy. I'm a good auntie, and I don't even have any kids, okay? I know someone who moved away from me because the kid liked me better than like both of them, okay? But let these men see these kids. The kids are in foster care. And if they're in foster care, it's not the dad's fault. It's the mother's fault because she blocked them from seeing them. But the kids in foster care, they ain't going to put the man on there. You know what they do? They tell a man to take parenting classes. They ain't no law that a woman take parenting classes if she have a baby. That ain't fair. They run these men through court all day. Then the woman makes up a story on him that he got to take medication. He got to do a parenting class because she said this or that. That is not fair. That is not fair. They're not fair. They're lonely bras who got something to say. They tell their friends, their cousin, their kid, their neighbor, the man ain't no good. Well, she ain't no good herself. Ain't no good. All these kids in foster homes and children's detention centers is because they about 99% or 100% they got a daddy. It's just the mom denied them and lying about the man. You ought to stop doing that. There's something wrong. And you got fatal attraction type men, you got fatal attraction type women. Get to know somebody. Grandmas, y'all are listening to the show. Not a 20-year-old ain't listening to the show, okay? You tell me up front. You sit there and you look at the person. They got 8 or 9 kids and ain't got no daddy around. The kids don't want you to say nothing to them. I know a little girl one time said, I don't want to hear him telling me what to do. I said, he works for me. If he said, move away from the property because it was painting and moving stuff out, I want you to get hurt. You know, all that old attitude. They got a nasty attitude. I know somebody and several people to this day. I don't know that well. I'm going to tell you something about it. Oh, every time a man pick up the kid, drop him off at school, it ain't good enough for her. You know what I told him? On your day, you pick him up. In the meantime, let the mother pick him up, okay? And you got all these white folks got these foster kids.
They don't even let the man don't even come in foster care. They don't even tell him the child in foster care. It's a shame you all women put these men out like this. I'm telling you the truth. You ain't got no money. They run you through court, and they want you to take all these classes up, and she over here lying every day.
Kathy, thank you, though. I got to go, though. Like, I had to go.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, then. Well, ain't nothing I can say to that. That hits different when it comes from a woman who worked in the courthouse, who sees it every day. It's different coming from a black woman, don't it? That wasn't me. I didn't tell Kathy to say that. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Coming with straight truth.
And we see the mayhem and we see the after effects, and it leaves a lot of people scratching their heads. And when you see a 14-year-old, involved in this, how did he get the weapon?
And this is my favorite show on the station. I love you guys so much. Every day I listen to you guys. I swear to God. I mean, I listen to all the shows when I'm at work, but this show right here, these wonderful, that's what's up.
Catch the Tori Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Hardworking family businesses, ambitious entrepreneurs, relationship builders, and job creators. Businesses like yours are the heart of Wisconsin, and Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation lives to help you realize your vision. Join them for Marketplace Wisconsin, the Governor's Conference on Diverse Business Development. It will be held on December 11th and 12th at the Baird Center in Milwaukee and virtually on the 10th. Presented by WEDC, Marketplace Wisconsin is a place for minority, women, LGBTQ+, veteran-owned and small businesses to network, explore government contracting, and grow. You keep our state moving with construction, janitorial services, logistics, transportation, technology, medical services, and more. And Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation wants to help propel your success too. Let's look forward together. Register for Marketplace Wisconsin today at marketplacewisconsin.com. That's marketplacewisconsin.com.
Your drink, sir?
This virtual vacation is brought to you by Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport. For the full experience, visit flymke.com to explore our many nonstop destinations. With super convenient parking and low fares, flying from Milwaukee makes traveling so easy. It's like starting your vacation early. Fly easy, fly MKE.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Saving energy and money is easier than you think. Here are 2 simple things you can do to reduce your energy use and lower your energy bill. Use thermal curtains to reduce each room's energy loss by up to 25%, and make sure vents aren't blocked by furniture or rugs to improve airflow and comfort. Simple, smart savings. Get more energy-saving tips at WeEnergies.com.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
There's this other thing, and it's called emotional gatekeeping, that a lot of parents don't know that they do. Personally, this is just my anecdotal evidence, as people are calling with their anecdotal evidence. Well, I'm using statistics too, but the emotional gatekeeping that I have seen, I have not seen men do this. I have seen women do it. I have been in the presence of a woman, friend, family member, whatever, when the dad had the kids for the weekend, or the dad had the kid overnight. And I was there to witness this, the child coming back to the mama, because they got an arrangement, right? Emotional gatekeeping is the mother grabs her child. The baby been gone for one day. grabs the child, hugs the child, looks at the child up and down. Are you okay? What did you do at your dad's house? Come on in here. I'm going to make you your favorite meal. And then the child internalizes that. It's like, whoa, it must be bad spending time with my father if my mother's going to ask me if I'm okay, and is wondering and scrutinizing what I did with dad. And sometimes women do that naturally because they think that when their child is away from them, their child is not safe. Well, what did you do? Are you okay? Are you sure you're all right? The child is fine. And that subconsciously puts a wedge between that child and their father, because the child, because of the reaction of the mother, is just assuming that something must be wrong, bad, or deficient with dad, because when the child returns to the mother, first thing the mama asks, are you okay? Did you eat? What did you eat? It should be more like, oh, you were with dad? What did you guys do? Oh, you went to the park? Oh, that sounds fun. What did you play at the park? Oh, you watched a movie? Oh, that sounds like a good time. Instead of being encouraging and supportive of that child when they're with dad, like, oh, are you okay? What did you do? Did you eat? Oh, you only ate pizza? Let me feed you something that you really are going to love. That's emotional gatekeeping, and that screws kids up. Let's talk to Steve. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm also doing well. What's on your mind, Steve?
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge all the fathers that come to the forefront, and fatherhood doesn't get the respect it's due, because us fathers need to love and nurture our children just as much as the mothers do. When our first child was born, I said, hey, I'm going to second shift. I don't want to do that much of the daycare thing. And I changed a lot of diapers. I nurtured my daughter. And I think the children turn out better for that. And when I was thinking of going back to first shift, my then wife said she wanted to adopt a child. And I said, okay, well, then I'll stay on second shift. And I did the same thing, and I think they both turned out better for it.
There you go, Steve. How old are your children now?
30 and 21.
And I'm sure they're doing just fine in the world. They're probably well adjusted. They haven't killed anybody, have they? Have your children murdered anybody?
No, but they still think they know everything.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Well, thank you, Steve.
You have a good day, sir.
All right, you too, Steve. Y'all even got the white daddies calling in today. See, why are fathers getting such a bad rap? I also think it's because if a woman, I shouldn't say a woman, if a person doesn't feel like they have any power, then the children can be used as a pawn, which is not fair. There's also a fallacy that if a man is paying child support, I hate this one. This is the worst one. If a man is paying child support, he should be able to see his kids. Think about how twisted that is. If you pay monthly, sir, you can pay to see your kids. You know that there are some men that are on child support but do not have custody nor placement of their children, so they are paying to support their children. There also is no stipulation on what a woman does with tax-free money. If a woman's only form of income is child support, and there are women that are out there, their only form of income is child support, they pay no taxes, no state, no federal, no FICA. Tax free. And when a man pays child support, it's after taxes. So if they took child support from his pre-tax amount, okay, let's say he pays $500 a paycheck for child support. Pre-tax would mean they take the $500 out and then they tax him on the rest of the income. So his tax rate would actually be lower because they're minusing the child support out. Then they're applying the taxes he owes, his income taxes, FICA, et cetera, okay? They do it after tax. So let's say a man makes $2,000 a week. They take taxes out. Now he's taking home $1,100 a week. And now he owes $500 in child support. His check is $600. Thank you for listening. Carrie and Ben are up next.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices, and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your